stars. I'll brush you off just like the dust upon my shoulder. I have a hunch of who you are. Believe it or not, I got the strength to blow you over. I'm a hurricane, I'm bringing thunder and rain. I'm a hurricane if you get in my way. I'm a hurricane, always on top of my game. I'm a hurricane, I'm trying to get in my way. Hurricane, I'm bringing thunder and rain. I'm a hurricane if you get in my way. I'm a hurricane, always on top of my game. I'm a hurricane, I'm trying to get in my way. I'm a hurricane, I'm bringing thunder and rain. I'm a hurricane if you get in my way. I'm a hurricane, always on top of my game. I'm a hurricane, I'm trying to get in my way. Hurricane, I'm bringing thunder and rain. I'm a hurricane if you get in my way. I'm a hurricane, always on top of my game. I'm a hurricane, I'm trying to get in my way.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
What's up? How is everybody? There we go. Sorry. Got what's stuff going on. There we go. Sorry about that. It was always interesting in here, that's for sure. All right, where we at? What are we doing? We're doing stuff. It's Wednesday night. It's gonna be a cool night. Whoa, my monitor just went down. What the fuck? Came back. All right, we're cool. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is going to be a good show tonight. I can feel it. I can feel it already. We had so much go on just today. Just today has been kind of epic, but the week has started off epic. I've been doing a bunch of streaming on other people's channels just to, kind of get out there, be cool, be loud, be whatever. Let's see who Agrillipus was first tonight. Let's fucking go. That's right. Hell yeah, man. K2, keep on trucking. Seen you all over lately, man. You get around everywhere. What is up, Damien? Our parkour guy is back, man. It says wipe your feet on the mat, take shoes off, hang up the coat, and hit the like on the way in. Brother, if you're wearing a coat where I'm at, you are in trouble. Fireworks. Ghost 1978 jumped in along with Smoking Spaceman and Gorilla Biscuits. I've seen him in a lot of different places today. That's cool. That's cool. We've got Mr. Mister up in the joint. And I'm sure we got other people wandering on in. I believe Wally is still alive. I'm pretty sure. I'm not really 100%. Maybe not. Maybe they are. Maybe they have signed off for the night. That's fine. Totally cool. Yeah. So, it's a hell of a night already. Hopefully Wally drops by. We got some business to take care of and talk. We got some shit to talk. It's the normal shit. Always talking some shit. Which I don't. It's interesting because I didn't actually start any of this shit, but I am probably going to be the one to finish it. The way it is. Had great time on CT's channel today. We're going to talk about that because that was fucking funny. I mean, it was ridiculously funny, guys. It was lit. And we got some other stuff that we need to talk about. We got a lot of stuff. I had a lot of stuff going on. We're going to just do we're going to kind of relax for a minute, let people come on in, people, wander as it were. I didn't start the show really early tonight with the intro like I normally do. What's up, Naomi? And what's up, Mr. Mister? How are you folks doing tonight? We've got, it's been an interesting 48, 72 hours. So it's kind of like, it's going to be cool. It's going to be good. It's going to be real good. So, yeah, it's what's up. And, so it's going to be cool. It's going to, like I said, going to be a cool night. We've had, a lot more drama in the ranks recently. The Dapper hat, I did not bring it in, but I can go get it. I did not bring it in. Well, I got this one. How about this? Does this work? Mikey Balls, what's up in here, man? What is up, sir? How are you? Hang on, let me get this. It's a certain way you got to wear this, You can't just throw a hat on. Gotta do it right. I'll go get the other hat in a minute, maybe. We'll find out. Or maybe I'll go back to the Crucible hat. That is my favorite hat right now. It's comfortable. It's really cool. Welcome, Mikey Balls. Good to see you. I hadn't seen you in a minute, brother. I don't know. You seem like you've been busy. That's and that's fine. That's good. It's good. Good to be busy. Needs to be worn more. Okay. This one's hot. The problem with the wool hat and the or felt in the summer is it's hot. It's hot as fuck. So don't normally wear it in the summertime. So the man, what a week. What a start to the week. You know. What's up, Hawaiian CC? No homo indeed, sir. No homo indeed. I got you, Naomi. You're down in Alabama. Just bought a new car. What'd you buy? What'd you buy, Mikey Balls? Well, what did you pick up, sir? Yeah, it's been hot today, man. It was hot. I was out on the water. I actually did a stream. I got up to so last night I was on with Abe Dinkus, right? We had a great time last night. It was a fun show. Just having a great time. And I told everybody, hey man, I'm gonna go to the lake in the morning. I'm gonna do some fishing. That's cool, man. Camry TRD, nice. So I told everybody, hey man, I'll tell if I can, I'll stream. They're like, oh, you got to stream from the lake, got to do a fishing stream, and I'm like, I mean, I'll try. And so sure enough, and I didn't think that fucker would be on, but old Abe, man, he's probably sleeping right now. He was up. I think he did an all-nighter. So he's probably asleep. But I was on the water at like 6:00 and hit the button and sure enough logged in, and I was on until I stayed on quite a while. I ended up being on about 2 or 3 hours while I was fishing. And didn't catch anything. The water is just, it's 80. The water temp most places is about 82 degrees. That's hot. And I'm pretty sure that most of the fish were out deep offshore, out in the channels. And I just didn't feel like taking the time to go do that. Yeah, Abe went hard last night. And there were some really, really good discussions on Abe's channel, right? Yeah. So it was really good. Some of it was not as good. Kel was on. Kinetic Kel came on. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if Kinetic Kel will make it on tonight. Kel's hilarious, but she's out of control. So I did that this morning. Last night, really chill. Now you guys might remember the last show I did, right? It was a Monday afternoon show, right? We had some guests in the chat. Jess White and We Are Not Men. I say that as I pronounce that WANM, which is woman. So woman and Jess White came in, stirred some shit, talked out of their ass, and apparently that's kind of like their MO now, which that's fine. Well, whatever. Who gives a fuck? But I wouldn't really have any I didn't think it was that big a deal. I do find it bad taste. I don't do this personally. I don't go to other people's channel and talk shit unless, now if they come over here and talk shit and run to their channel, sure, I have done that. I have a proven track record of if you fuck with me, I'm going to come after you, right? But if you don't fuck with me, I'm not going to fuck with you. I just don't give a shit. I just don't care. I got my own shit to do. I got my own show to run. Go run your show, brother. My internet is struggling. Let me take a look. Oh, fuck yeah, it is. What the hell? Um, fuck is going here? This is cause for alarm. This is no good. What the actual fuck? Yeah, I get that it's super choppy. I'm just not really sure why. Fuck me. Shit. Up. We might be coming back. Nah, shit's all out of focus and shit. What the hell? Sorry, guys. I hate this. Oh, it's better now, right? It's good. Oh, what the fuck? All right. That was pretty fucked up. Usually I get a text if there's an issue. But I did not, and I don't think I did. All right. Well, looks like we're back to normal. All right. Sorry about that, guys. It was weird. All right. Anyway, so as I said, ladies and gentlemen, we had some people come by the other day and caused a lot of problems. And I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate people coming into my show. Initially, Jess White came in basically to say, hey, didn't appreciate or heard that I was saying shit about her, and I clarified and said, yeah, I did. And what I said was, I think you're boring. I don't really like you that much. At any rate, I don't know what's going on, guys. There's something going on with the internet. This is pretty it's pretty fucked up right now. Video looks fucked up. All right. Well, I'm watching it on my phone now, so maybe it'll. All right. Well, I'm watching it on my phone. Maybe it'll figure it out. All right. It looks like everything's kind of back to normal. I don't know what the hell happened there. We'll figure it out. It's weird. Yeah, it looks good and sounds good on my phone, but on my monitor in here it looks like shit. But it could just be my internet was fucking up, and that's fine. Agree, they need to quit doing omnibus bills, smoking spaceman. The interesting thing about the and we'll get back to the loser epidemic we've been having. We'll get back to that. The suppressor and firearms stuff is I watched his show on, or his uh, it looks like it's just really my internet's really slow, or there's a node down or something. All right, so here's the deal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and figure it out and fix it. The internet's been great all day, and I'll figure it out. I'm gonna text this to the channel. All right. All right, so we'll see if this holds for a minute. What's up, Wicked Wally? Give me a second. I gotta just do a couple of things on my. It's tough to run everything through this, but I can make it work. So all right. Yeah, the video just cleared up. All right, that's cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to but that doesn't mean anything. test. Got it. There we go. Boom. Nope. Fuck me. This is going to be old, man. This is going to be old. I don't know what the fuck I did or didn't do, but it's getting old. All right. Everything looks good. Set that over there so I can fucking watch that shit. Make it see if I start freezing again. Nice. All right. Well, sorry for the technical difficulties, guys. Apparently, I don't know. I didn't do anything except go reboot the modem inside the router. I didn't do shit, and it's been fine all day until like right now. Like it was fine. So let's fucking go. All right, Wally, if you're still here, I sent you the link. Come on in, jump on up. Blame the dog. I wish. I really don't know what the fuck was going on. I just jacked up. I see we got a bunch of people in the chat, which is cool, which is awesome. Hopefully my buddy Trippy Cass drops in. That'd be cool. What's up, Mojo Motzi? It's good to see you. Time for a new modem. Yeah, actually, I have two new modems. I have a high-speed router that is I have to get permission from Xfinity to use on their network, but that's just a simple phone call. And the other one, I guess because I was going to upgrade. They sent me, Xfinity just sent me a big badass modem that I need to set up and configure. I just haven't had time. I've been on the internet so much or gone that I just haven't had time to do it. So, we'll get it sorted out. Let me see here. So Wicked Wally, we throw that link to Wicked Wally. Make sure we got the right one. Let me do this again. So yeah, may actually be time for a new modem. We'll see that. We'll see if that works out. We'll see how this shit works. It seems like there's a lot of drama going on around the internet lately, which is normal. The internet is drama. We all know that. But it does seem like lately maybe there was a little bit more drama than what we consider normal. And that's pretty cool. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the show. The show has been quite interesting. What's up? Are you crazy? Good to see you. Never Lucky Rubber Ducky, good to see you. Imperious, what is up, you crazy fake ass lawyer dude? Good to see you in the chat. Hang out, be cool, and avoid the mods because I don't think the mods like you very much. So I'd be cool. Just be cool. Clover Tack, I'm going to send you the link. I really want to talk about what was going on today in the with the Senate. And I don't know if you saw Brandon Herrera's video, but it was actually pretty good. Put things into a good light. So that was cool. All right, Clover. So I got you a link here. We'll just go ahead and send that. We'll get some gun talk going on. What's up, Abe Dinkus? I need to watch that video and see how it worked out. Because I couldn't see it or anything because my screen, I was on my phone. So we'll get that in there. So it looks like the internet is stable again. Everything's cool. It's been cool all day up until now. So that's great. I sent some people links. You guys can jump up if you want. Really quickly, before we start getting back while Cormac's making himself comfortable, you guys may know that the other day we had two guests come in, Jess White and We Are Not Men, now known as Woman, WAMN, Woman. So Woman came in and was being a little bitch as normal. And so originally, the way it started out, Jess White came in and said, "Hey, I heard you said some stuff about me and my channel." I said, "Yeah, I think you're boring. I don't go there, and I have no reason to go there." So that's what I said. I'm pretty sure that I may have embellished that slightly, but what the fuck ever, it's fine. I don't like Jess White. She's, like, why is she even on the internet? But she could have settled. She could have said that. She could have come into my chat. She could have sent me a DM. She could have come into my Discord and said, "Hey, I heard you said something about me." Kept it private. And just been a human being about it. I almost said be a man about it there, but as manly as she looks, she's still a woman, we think. But at any rate, so Jess White, she's not an Andrew Wilson orbiter. She believes nothing that Andrew Wilson says, and I'm going to get into this in just a minute. If you're going to be an orbiter, at least hold the values of the people you fucking orbit, you dumb bitch. So here's the thing. So if she had just come in and said that, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. And I was very relaxed the other day because I've been out on the boat all day. Abe knows what that's like for me. I was like chill all day. We were on the boat. He was virtually on the boat with me today. I was really chill, and I was like, yeah, whatever. This is what I said, whatever. No big deal. So, the very interesting thing about this is that she could have just let it go. She didn't. She kept running her mouth, and Woman came in, and Woman kind of tried to make a big deal about it. I think he wanted to get his ass booted off so he could whine and play the victim, but we weren't playing that game. And it went back and forth, and basically, Jess White was just running her mouth and saying nothing. The problem is with all of this is we have receipts of all the things that we claim. Flow State, for example, made the claim or the observation that he thought that Jess White flirting with Charles Darwin was funny as fuck and kind of awkward too at the same time. And that was, and I thought so too once I saw the video. Now, the problem is that if someone like Flow State tells you he has receipts for something, he has the fucking receipts, and he has no problem putting them out there. So what you guys don't know is we cleared that show, right? I rated everybody off to somewhere else, and and Glenn and I were in the back chat talking. Now, it's not recorded or anything, so you guys are just gonna have to take my word for this, but you can ask Glenn. And Woman calls Glenn while we were on the phone. Glenn puts it on speakerphone because he's using his headset to or maybe he was on his, I don't know how he was making it work. Anyway, puts it on speakerphone. Woman calls in and starts going after Glenn, asking about these receipts that we have. Okay. Because what Woman did, and just for everybody's clarification, when I say Woman, that's WAMN. We are not men. Okay. So when Woman when he and I kind of had that I told him to get the fuck away, and he said a bunch of shit. He deleted that entire conversation like a bitch. Now, men don't do that, right? I have almost every conversation I've ever had, so I don't delete shit. So if somebody says, "Hey, do you remember this?" I can go back and say, "Yeah, I got it," right? But the thing is when he deleted it, it deleted it from my side too. The problem is that I had already sent screenshots of that to Glenn Lawrence and Mr. E. I believe I sent them to Mr. E. I need to check, but I'm 90% sure I sent them to Mr. E because I was following up. I was like making sure that, nobody was pissed off at me. And if someone is pissed off at me, I want to squash it, right? That's the way it works. Because we're not men, the less than manly man thought that he had deleted all of the evidence. He freaked the fuck out when I said that we have all the receipts. We have we will, if they keep pushing, we'll start posting this shit. Now, I'm not ready to do that yet. I'm trying to just let everybody go the fuck away and leave me the fuck alone. But if it comes down to it, we'll escalate to thermonuclear warfare, and the entire internet can understand what a lying sack of shit We Are Not Men and Jess White truly are. Jess White sat up there and said, I sent, dudes send me dick pics, whatever. I'm a woman on the internet. People send me dick pics. Yeah, right. But generically, you don't send them nudes if they send you dick pics, right? So anyway, we've got all the receipts. We've got the conversations. If people fuck with me, I promise you, it will be the ugliest thing they have ever experienced in their life. And I've done this over and over and over again. People come at me and they think that because I'm polite and I'm nice, and I talk to people with some sounding of respect in my voice, that I won't nuke them. But I fucking will. And I've got it all. I've got it all. So this is what's going on. I'm absolutely being 100% transparent. They need to crawl the fuck away and leave me alone and not go and not say anything else and not tell people not to come on my channel and not because Arthur Diet. I'm getting this. I have receipts as well of them going into other people's shows and harassing people that go to my channel and theirs, telling them not to come to my channel. Do you know how gay that is? Do you know what kind of cock-sucking, low-life, faggoty-ass son of a bitch you have to be to do that? That's fucking low, right? And I have proof. So they need to stop that shit, forget literally everything they know about me and my show and go the fuck away or we go to war. And I will bury them with information. Okay? I've been very quiet. I have been respectful. I haven't gone after anybody. I've been very polite. I've not talked a whole lot about how Are We Not Men tried to blackmail Glenn and I for money. I've not talked about too much that, other than, that when the one night that I confronted, I didn't confront Are We Not Men. I didn't name him, but everybody will remember the night that I was on Jake Var's podcast and Imperius and Andrew were up there. And I asked Andrew specifically that someone was telling me that if I platform certain people like Imperius, that there would be results from the crucible. There would be consequences within the crucible, and I could actually be removed or pushed out of the crucible. And I asked Andrew about that. You can go back and check the episode. I asked him very specifically about that live, and We Are Not Men lost his fucking shit in my Discord, and lost his shit and raged. And I let it go. So again, I've spent now about 15 minutes talking about this more than I wanted to. I know they're watching. I know they're gonna watch. They can't help themselves. They need to fuck off out of my way and forget that I exist, because I will not forget they exist. Okay, so that's where we're at. Arthur Daya, I understand what you're saying, but you're exactly right, Arthur Daya. Drama is not how you grow a channel, and them going to people who come here, and people who go, like Jess White goes to somebody else's channel and are DMing people and bullying them about coming to my channel as well. And Are We Not Men are doing it too. And that's pretty fucking stupid. And that's a drama that nobody needs. And if you're going to bring that shit in my house, get the fuck off. The only question she needs to be asked from this day forward is, so who's the slut again now? I don't know about that, but I tell you, Wally, what you were talking about yesterday, and you can choose to reveal that or not. What you were talking about yesterday is the most fucked up thing I've ever heard in my life. Literally the most fucked up thing I've ever heard. And I've heard some fucked up shit. So I'm just telling you, yeah. Yeah, Mr. I don't really know who did what. I think you're probably right about that. I don't know. I don't care. But now we're going to move on. Imperious, I'm sorry. I don't know what you were saying. I really wasn't paying attention to the chat while I was ranting there, other than a couple of things that were pointed out to me. But yeah, so it's not a again, I don't go to other channels and start shit, unless it's a channel where we start shit, right? I don't talk shit about other people, What's up, Naomi? How are you? $5 from Naomi. Respect and love from Mike and I. Awesome. I'm glad you guys are having a good time. I really hope you are having a good time. Crystal Strange, what's up, man? It's been a minute since we've seen you in here. Good to see you. Wally, I sent you that link if you want to come up. Yeah. So Clover Tack, have you watched Brandon Herrera's video on the decision today?
Well, first I got to ask you, how the fuck was the theater there, Mrs. Lincoln?
Right?
Jesus.
Yeah.
I've seen Brandon's thing. Yeah.
I think he put it pretty well, right? He covered all the bases,
concise.
and he didn't do his normal, like, over the top stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty concise.
Yeah.
Pretty good rundown, I think. It's so fucking discouraging, man. How we can have an unelected Democrat that can just completely shut stuff down, and erroneously, by the way.
Yeah.
Completely shut stuff down. It's beyond me. Now, that being said, they still haven't had the vote in the House, last I heard, unless something has changed. It's a minute by minute thing.
Well, I thought that they had the vote in the House.
There'd be something out there.
Well, it was 50 to 50, and Vance made it 51.
That's the Senate.
Oh, is that the Senate? Oh, you're right.
Yeah. So
I don't.
there are
I
a
don't.
lot of Republicans, and rightfully so. It's not just the
It's
Second
not the
Amendment
gun bill.
related
There's a lot that's
stuff.
pissing
There's a
people off.
lot that
Yeah.
parliamentarian kicked out that is it's fair game. I mean, whether you agree with it or not, from a political or a partisan side,
Yeah.
it's fair game. Like she should
Right.
not have stripped that out, and it's even more frustrating that we've got an unelected official that is gatekeeping the legislative process.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's a good term. I mean, gatekeeping. But I think that the conspiracy theorist in me thinks that there's more to this. Let me read this really quick. $9.99 came in from Mikey Balls. Support grid. Fire prayer on target. Awesome, bro. Awesome. So I appreciate that. Miss Vagina just subscribed. Good. Thank you. Oh, Trippy Raid. What's up, Trippy Cast? I sent you a link, Trippy, so you can come up if you want. Bring the broad with you if you want to. So Clover,
Mhm.
one of the interesting things that Herrera said, and I kind of knew this, but I wasn't like there's only so much, that so much ancient law that I pay attention to. But I remember, that the Gun Control Act of 32 had been challenged before.
34 and 37.
Yeah. Okay. 34. Right. I knew that it had been challenged before, and it had been the only reason that it survived was that it was not considered a registry or a
Correct.
anything like that. That it was simply a tax. It was, and they were keeping basically keeping track of who paid the tax or not.
Exactly.
And
I mean, it says it all over the forms. Like look at
yeah,
you look at any form dealing with the
mhm,
NFA, and it's
yeah.
tax, 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 tax. And
Tax.
it was
100%.
also,
Mhm,
if you look at the instructions, and if you look at all of the penalties and
mhm,
all the other codes,
mhm.
it's all tax code, man. It's all IRS. It is
Right.
not. None of that
Yeah. Right.
is
Yeah.
legislative.
Absolutely. And so when that chick, what has effectively happened by the tax being removed, and
It's almost like a limbo, like a catch-22 type thing, right?
well, right, because the only reason, and Herrera points this out, the only reason that it wasn't viewed as a gun control measure
Mhm.
and violation of the Second Amendment was that it was a tax.
Yeah. Well, I can't
If the
remember, but
tax is, yeah, if the
if
tax
you
is if the tax is no longer relevant, right? Like if
if
it's
you
no longer a tax and it's simply a
yeah.
registry, now it's anti-constitutional, and now it would,
Well,
and I think that Herrera makes a good point. It will take years and tons of money to validate that, to make it to have the Supreme Court finally rule that it's
yeah,
unconstitutional.
I think it can eventually happen, but it's going to be
But he's right; it will take a long time.
well,
But that
the courts
is the
do,
door
right?
that's open.
I mean,
Sorry.
the courts do take time. I mean, that's
Yeah.
with anything.
Sure.
What? So the language, and I mean, the fight's not over. It's still not over. We still need to be calling. We still need to
Oh
be
yeah,
putting
yeah. It was
pressure. We
100%.
need still be doing things. And so, till the vote is done in the House, right? And
Right.
even then, unless the House adopts the Senate's version,
Mhm.
then it gets kicked back to the Senate any fucking way. So,
Right.
we've still got. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're at the 2-minute fucking warning or whatever the hell at this point, if you want to put it in football terms. But, I mean, it's still got some chance. So it went to the House, right? With it went into the House, and then in the Rules Committee and whatever in the committee in there, right? Late last night, and I can't remember the congressman's name, but he got the language back in there, and he actually, if you go and
It's
you
that
read,
guy from Texas, I think.
no, I think he's from Georgia, but anyway,
I think you're right.
uh,
Yeah.
but anyway, doesn't matter. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He's not any of my representatives, so I don't remember. But anyway, he did a much better job with the amendment he proposed, with laying out the structure of the NRA, how it was taxed, basically everything we just talked about, right? And he
Right.
laid it out, and I thought that was awesome because it puts people in a box, right? When you do that, the way it was written previously, it just says, "Hey, we're gonna remove these," right, or whatever,
Mhm.
and it doesn't really lay out the why. All that needs to be removed, and I think that needs to be done. I think you need to say, okay, we're gonna zero out the tax, but when we zero out the tax, we can't constitutionally. We know that we are bound, and legislatively, by the way, we are bound from creating any type of registry,
Right.
So, in order to stay on the level with all of that, in order for this to hold constitutional muster, when it is passed, blah 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 blah, we've got to strike this stuff as well, right?
Yeah.
And so the last I'd heard, however, that amendment was voted down, which fucking sucks. But I don't know. I mean, anything can happen at this point. The game's not over. I mean, it's almost like, and I don't like any of them, Republicans or Democrats, to be quite fucking honest with you. But it's almost like I don't understand why would you have a parliamentarian that um is there to cater to assist, to advise, because it's not a constitutional role, it's not an elected role. The Speaker of the House that isn't appointed by said Speaker of the House. Like you would think that's the way it works in all other bureaucracy, is like the higher up appoints the people underneath them, right?
Sure.
And so, like, I don't understand why she's still there. They're afraid at this point that she, if they do, I think if they do remove her, and Trump's already, talked about removing her, but I think now they're afraid they're going to get pushback. And what pisses me off too is that the Republicans want to pussyfoot around with all this. And the
Yeah.
Democrats shoved Obamacare straight down our throat.
Right.
Straight fucking down our throat in a very similar manner to the way that it looks like this is going to have to go, right? And so I think that there's some speculation, and I don't remember if Harrell talked about this or not, but I've been talking to a lot of people the last couple of days. So this was, of course, the chatter of GunCon this weekend and everything else. But um, the um, the deadline, right?
Yeah.
So there are people that go, well, if we didn't have this fucking deadline, like Trump's got to have his July the 4th big beautiful bill bullshit. Like why the fuck? What does it matter, Trump? Like fuck, really? And it's because he's a populist, and he's all about Trump, and he's got to have fucking shit that looks awesome, right? He's got to have
Right.
all this optics. And okay, cool. But there's another way to look at it too. Like I kind of agree with that. I think it could possibly have time to get worked out if we had a few more days on it. But I think it could possibly get worked out as well, because I don't know that the Senate parliamentarian can dig on the new language for as far as including the short
Right.
act and the HPA.
Right.
I don't think she can. And so it wouldn't surprise me if we didn't see football terms again, a last minute Hail Mary, where the language gets back inserted along with a lot of other things that were stripped out, gets back inserted, and it gets kicked back to the Senate for whatever reason. And at that point, there is an immediate firing and appointing, or an immediate override followed by a firing, like one of the two, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to me, right?
And it's like, and the excuse given is, well, we had to get this done by July the 4th, and the only way was to override and fire this fucker.
Well, I mean, I think Vance can just fire that chick. I guess the thing is that I understand that it's not an original position. It was, I think it came about in the 30s. I think. So I don't know. I mean, I've this is like the first time I've ever actually like really paid attention to the parliamentarian
Right.
because obviously the attention's being called to it, right?
Well, I mean, if you ever paid attention to anything that was done through, the reconciliation process with the Byrd rule in play and all of that, if you've ever really paid any attention to that, and let's be honest, the vast majority of people don't. The vast majority of
Right.
people don't pay attention to anything, let alone to that kind of shit, because it is kind of boring, usually.
Yeah.
But if you do, I mean, you would be aware of the whole issue with parliamentarian, you know.
Yeah.
But nobody with all of the fight that was put up on the on the 2A side especially, like nobody really foreseen the parliamentarian being a problem, because she's supposed to be there at the whim of the obviously of the speaker, right? Or
Mhm.
the majority leader. I keep saying speaker, I think. The majority leader obviously wants this through. There has been Supreme Court precedents already set multiple times that shows that the pathway for this and how it works. It just it I don't know. It makes no sense to me. Like, why? I don't get it. I don't know how you can. I don't know how you can say we're going to zero the tax and that's okay, but we can't touch the rest of the stuff, even though it all has to do with tax in the IRS. Like, it makes no sense to me at all. No sense. And
Yeah.
it, ma-
I
and it makes
mean,
no sense to people smarter than me, right? Because I'm not going to sit here and claim that I know everything. But there has been lawyer upon top of lawyer upon top of lawyer that has covered this and laid everything out. Go look at Four Boxes Diner, for example. That guy has for weeks now has laid everything out in grave detail.
yeah. I mean, I think Chuck makes a good point here. If you're talking the House, it's the Speaker is the selector. That's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
we're talking the Senate, so I misspoke. I probably said speaker and I meant majority leader,
Right.
because we were talking Senate with the parliamentarian. We're talking Senate.
Yeah. So I think that I mean we've got to win no matter what. It's not the win we wanted, but we got to win.
We got to win, and we've got a pathway, right? Still, so
Right, right. And the short act now, the short act was completely killed, right? So far, but it can be reinserted. Right? Am I right about that?
they've both been killed effectively, except for the reduction of the tax to zero. Like, there's no other win in this at all. Period. None. None.
Well, that was
Like it would have been a better win if they said, okay, we'll strip suppressors out. But you can't do that. That would even be a more idiotic fucking move by the parliamentarian,
yeah.
because you're parsing what's considered a firearm, and you're taking part of it out but not another thing out.
Well,
Like,
no, the ATF already did that. The Supreme Court removed suppressors from as a firearm.
well, no, they didn't. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to fill out a 4473.
Well, that's the problem that the NFA
And
has had.
that's where the rubber hits the road when it comes
Right.
to the NFA. Is we're talking with this legislation, with the big beautiful bill, with HPA and with Short, we're talking about the National Firearms Act. We're talking about the
Well, hold on.
wording, the purpose, and everything else within that.
I mean, and I'm going from memory here, but and because I didn't agree with it, I have a friend of mine who does agree with it, but I don't. And basically, the stance the ATF took was that suppressors are an accessory; they're not a firearm; they're an accessory, and therefore they can be regulated. And that was in response to the Texas and I believe it was a Missouri um, suppressor case.
The suppressor freedom stuff. I mean, it could be. I'm not familiar with. I know the Missouri Was it to Missouri that got really rough?
It was
those
somewhere like
people,
Missouri or
those people
maybe.
got so screwed. I don't remember if it was Missouri or maybe it was Kansas that tried that. And so far, hasn't anybody got into a lot of trouble over the Texas one, the Texas suppressor freedom. But
Yeah, Texas had
um,
two. Texas had the
the
first one, which was the individual who
well,
filed.
regardless of what, here's the thing: regardless
Yeah.
of what the ATF says, right? Because ATF can say whatever the fuck they want from 1 minute to the next, and they can
Mhm.
change their position and their rules and everything else from 1 minute to the fucking next. The legislation is the legislation,
Mhm.
and so if you're going by the NFA, it's firearm. But
Right.
I
Well,
don't know.
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know why we're arguing that, or I don't
No,
even
no,
know how we
I'm
got
not
on
really
that.
arguing it. I'm just it's a kind of a sticking point because that's one of the ways that the ATF tried to maintain control of suppressors by saying that, well, it's not a firearm, it's an accessory, and therefore we can regulate it. And then so that changed the NFA, and that's why I believe honestly that's why the HPA has had so much um, momentum and steam this time around. Um, and they basically, um, I mean, I think everybody's just sick of hearing about it, and the arguments this time are really good. So,
Yeah, they're
and anyway,
solid.
so I thought it was really cool.
They've definitely, I think, opened the door. They've stepped in it, but I mean, it's insane that it hasn't been challenged to this point. But we're in a much different place in this country, where 2A stuff is no longer as taboo as it used to be, especially post pandemic lockdown, summer of love, all that crap.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah,
a couple of years ago, of course, I've had issues. I've been confronted by law enforcement about my suppressor at a range once in Colorado, and I've
right.
had friends that have had kind of small issues, and 10 years ago, 12 years ago, there was a lot of apathy about
Well,
suppressor, right?
yeah.
Like nobody cared. Like, why do you even need it? That sort of thing. But now, as the thing is that more people shoot closer to urban sprawl than ever, and more ranges are getting shut down because of noise complaints. Um, and I think that it's more people than ever before are actually interested in suppressors. Um, Obviously, the cool factor is there, sure, but from the practical aspects of if they own 5 or 10 acres, they can set up a range in their backyard and go shoot um, without the neighbors calling the sheriff on them all the time.
Right.
And I think that that type of change in mentality has really driven the discussions about why these things should be legal. And what's really, I think what really hurt the ATF in
Well,
their arguments.
the word
Go ahead.
let me correct you just real quick, and you didn't mean to do it, but you said they need to be legal. They need to be deregulated.
Yes, they need to be deregulated. Perfectly, yeah. Um,
They're
and
already
so,
legal. There's nothing wrong
right,
with it.
right. So,
Yeah,
but they need to be deregulated. They need to be as common as any other firearm
they
accessory.
already are. They already are.
They really are, and that's
The
the other
amount of
thing is they
suppressors
got
that are out
so
there. Yeah,
common. Yeah,
yeah.
they got so common, and so, but and not only that, I think there is, as you were saying, a lot of distrust. There's a lot of people who are unhappy with the way the government's been dealing with this and the tact that they've taken. And honestly, look, the ATF has not done itself any favors at all in the way that they respond to these challenges, the way that they're trying to try and control things. And I think the reality has caught up with that. These are common devices. They're really they're not what people have been led to believe they are. And what's really killed it for them, or what's really brought this to a head, my opinion, is that for years it took weeks, months, to get your 40 to get your now I can't think of the name of the damn form. Not a 4473, the
Form 4
yeah, the Form 4, thank you.
or 1 or
Or
whatever.
Form 1. Yeah, Form 1 or Form 4. So you fill out your Form 4 and send it in with your fingerprint and all of your documentation and everything. It could take a long time
They're
to
coming
get
back in
your
hours, man. They're coming
yeah,
back in
right.
hours now. If
Yeah,
you
and the ATF had to do that. And so I think
and
that's what's really pissed people off is because it used to take so long. And at one point I remember it was like literally a year. Like I knew guys that had been waiting
well,
on their stamps for a
so
year.
yeah, so I covered this on a podcast. I've been podcasting for a long time,
Sure.
and I covered this on a podcast years ago. But there was some information that came out that the ATF was, as far as the uh, NFA side goes,
Mhm.
we're working on new systems and staffing
Mhm.
and training and some other things, right?
Right.
And with the times dropping, with the times in order to get your stamps back, um, dropping like they did. I mean, we have a few pretty big suppressor companies to thank for that,
Right.
because they were able to actually work with the ATF and help get some of the stuff in play to make all that work and go
Mhm.
faster. And I think it was just the government moving slow, and it took years for
Right.
that all
Right.
to get
That's what I
implemented
was
and
yeah, yeah.
finally
Yeah,
come
that's
to
where I was
fruition, right?
going. So
Now, one thing that you talk about some interesting things, like once upon a time it used to not be this way, and it blew my mind when I first seen this, is once upon a time you do what you're talking about, and you'll get a letter
yeah.
in the mail from the ATF, and it has a DOJ whatever tax stamp, literal fucking stamp on the
Mm,
paperwork.
yeah.
You go digital and e-file and all now, you don't get the actual stamp. You get a photocopy of the stamp. That's all you get.
Yeah.
It's the best you get now, and I don't know that I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So but where I was going with that Clover Tack, I understand. So, people were waiting over a year sometimes to get a stamp back, and there was no real reason for it. The ATF, they have plenty of manpower that when every time I
Actually,
call
they
up,
didn't. That department didn't. No, that
okay,
department
well,
didn't.
every time I called,
So
that would,
the
somebody would
state of
answer the
Texas,
phone.
the state, yeah, but odds are it wasn't the right person, and it wasn't the person doing the filing in the applications. The
Sure.
state of Texas,
Hmm.
at the time and maybe shortly before, and remember that for 4 years, trying to remember, I was a director with Texas State Rifle Association, right? So it was definitely during that time.
Hmm.
But the entire state of Texas, as far as the forms and everything being done for the entire state of fucking Texas, there was 4 people that handled that. Four,
Hmm.
not 400, four, 4 employees to
Yeah.
handle all the NFA paperwork for the entire state of Texas. Four. So that's why it took so long. But and I don't like saying to be fair when it comes to the fucking government. But
Right.
I'm going to here, right? Because we got to be fair. To be fair, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever, there wasn't the demand, right?
Sure.
Like when the
Sure.
demand skyrocketed, I don't know the
But
numbers,
even
right?
back then,
And somebody can go look the numbers up. It's very easy to do. But in the last several years, there have been more NFA stuff,
oh yeah,
suppressor, short barrel, whatever, than all of the previous years combined. Like
yeah,
it's exponentially blown up, right?
right, right. But here's
And
the thing.
four just couldn't cover it.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I remember that, right? Like I did stuff way back like 20 years ago. And I have noticed it has gotten better, but it was when, even up until COVID, um, they had, they were slow and it was taking, and what was really weird is that there for a while, because they were getting sued or something, and the times dropped from 1 year to like 3 months. Like there were guys getting them back in like
That's all
12,
dependent on
10 or
how
12
you
weeks, right?
filed, though, Grid. It's all dependent on how you filed and whether
Right.
or not it was Form 1, and then
Well, I mean,
there was-
I'm just going by what I was seeing through the gun shops and
Sure.
through what I did myself.
Well,
And
gun shops typically the gun shops are going to go through like a third party, Silencer Central,
yeah, it was silencer shop. They
or
had a
Silencer Shop.
kiosk.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
Silencer
had a
Shop
silencer shop.
kiosk. Yeah. That's what we've got at the shop. Yeah.
So I think what really drove it to where it's down to hours now is the when that first Texas lawsuit got so much traction, where Texas was like, they were basically
Maybe.
suing to
Maybe.
they were taking ATF to court and saying that the suppressor should be deregulated, mainly because it was overly burdensome to make people wait and to keep their property for this period of time. And I forget the guy in Texas who did that.
Mhm.
And they
Not
ended
just a
up
pain in the ass for the customer, but a pain in the ass for the shop too.
right, and it
Like
was
we've got
it was a
4
big deal,
fucking
right?
safes at the shop. The big safes, they ain't little.
Yeah,
4. And one
yeah,
of them, I mean, there's suppressors in all of them, but one of them is nothing but fucking suppressors
sure.
and
And,
things that are waiting on paperwork or waiting for people to come pick them up, right?
mhm. Right, yeah, and that's in Texas, and I forget the guy's name, but he sued Texas, or he sued federally the ATF for that, and it made it all the way into the court, and it was in the court for like 2 or 3 years, and it was about last year, the year before last, where the Supreme Court finally, so the ATF, it would drag on, right? Like, so the ATF would win because they would make some wild claim that it wasn't burdensome because of this, or whatever, and then they would file again, and then another court would find that the ATF was being overly burdensome, and so what it really seemed to do was motivate the ATF to change things so that they didn't lose control of this, because that really was the option that the court was looking for. The courts were literally at the point where they're like, yeah, we don't believe you, ATF, and we're on the fence of just letting this all go. And of course, the ATF doesn't want to let go of any of that shit. And so what I noticed was it went from every time they would lose a round or get really nervous and need to prove to the court that they were not being overly burdensome, the time dropped. It dropped from like a year, because it at one point it went, so for those of you who don't know, it was like you would wait a year or longer. And then it dropped down to where 3 to 6 months was pretty standard, maybe 8 months
Well,
if you had multiples or something.
So
And then it dropped down to where I remember one
what?
time in like 2004, no, 2018, 2019, I was getting Form 1s back in like 12 days, 13 days.
Yeah, that
And
was so. So let me ask:
yeah,
what year was your roughly? You may not remember exactly. What year was your first NFA?
90,
Or anybody you remember?
99, 98, 99, somewhere along in there.
Okay. How long was it then?
Oh, fuck, dude. It was actually, I don't remember. I mean, of course, I was able to go shoot it. So
It shouldn't have been that long. It should have been a few months at most.
it was, I want to say it was probably
Less than 6, I would say.
I think it was right at 6.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was because the shop that I was, there was an issue with the shop that I was buying it through, and they ended up having to do the transfer through another.
Yeah, there are delays, and a lot of people don't realize this. There are delays, and there's a lot less now. That's another perk. There's a lot less because you don't have to go paper form anymore.
Yeah.
But when there was paper form and you like write all that shit in or whatever the fuck, like there was
Yeah.
lots of delays that people would get upset and it's just because of the paperwork getting fucked up, and it really wasn't any. It wasn't a problem with demand or the infrastructure to service that demand, right? And so I can remember in the 80s, I can remember getting forums back, people getting forums back. I wasn't old enough, but people getting forums back in, a few months. Fast forward to the 90s and me getting some of my first ones. And yeah, definitely less than 6 months. Once the AWB expired, those times
Yeah.
increased a little bit.
Mhm.
Once like Sandy Hook and you had really all of the modern panic buying and stuff like that hit, then they increased even a little more. They were pretty fucking brutal around the mid 20 teens. Pretty brutal.
Right. I
And
remember
that
in
is where and when the ATF went in to restructure everything. When they did, the times started to get less, right? They come down significantly. They were back to where they were in like the 80s and 90s, and even a little bit quicker, as you pointed out, right? Assuming there wasn't any errors, or if you did them digital, because they even had digital. They've had digital for probably close to a decade now. They then what happened, and this is the biggie. So I say go look at the numbers because I don't have them off the top of my head, but exponentially the demand blew up. I mean, it's insane, right?
yeah.
And that happened since the lockdown stuff, right? And so they were getting better. And
Well,
then what
even
happened
before
is that
the
that lockdown happened and the demand increased so significantly that their model was working. It was lowering times, but it was lowering times based off of this steady flow of demand. And all of a sudden the demand just went through the fucking roof. And they were like, oh shit, we got to hire, train, get more computers in, or
yeah, I
whatever they
mean,
had to do.
I think I noticed it. I noticed the times really creep up past 6 months again, probably in like 2000.
Early 20s.
Yeah, like 2012,
Oh, yeah.
2011, 2010, maybe. I noticed the times creeped way up. And what I put it down to was, um, first of all, there were gun shops that actually carried suppressor. Like before that, it was rare to walk into a gun shop and see
Oh, yeah.
a selection of cans, right? Like it was just like you basically, the way that I bought my first suppressor was I called Gym Tech and I said, hey, you
That was my
know,
first. That was my first too.
yeah, I called Gym Tech and I said, hey, I got a 9mm Beretta, but I'd also like to use it on this 300 Whisper that I had, and what could they do, right? And they said, well, we've got this 30 cal can. It's a little bit, it's a little bit small, but the pistol suppressor really won't work for you. So they eventually steered me in the right direction. So then I had a part number. I had to go to my to the Type 3 dealer, say, hey, I want to order this from Gym Tech. So they had to order it and get it in. Now that didn't actually take that long. That was like a week, maybe two,
Right.
but whatever. Because this is back before. This was a long time ago, and so the suppressor came in. I had already filled out the paperwork. As soon as I didn't know this, and this was a mistake that I made early on, was I could have, the minute I had the serial number for the suppressor, I could have sent in my paperwork.
And the specs, of course.
And this, yeah, obviously. Well, they sent me a sheet, right?
Yeah. Right.
As soon as I had a serial number, I could have sent in my Form 4. I
Yep.
didn't know that.
Yeah, you did. You don't
I
got.
waited until the gun shop had it, and then I had to go down there and I had to go to the
Most people do. That's
one of
normal.
the interesting things was, and I don't know if it's still that way, but they won't, like, I had a set of fingerprints from where I did some security stuff.
Yeah. No.
And so I had a set of fingerprints like made that I had a card, I had a copy, right?
Yeah.
And so I took it down and I gave it to I gave it to the gun shop guys. They wouldn't take it. It had to be like a new set, like
It also back in the day had to be on a very specific card or cards.
Yeah.
You had to send in 2 copies.
Yeah.
Cards. So I've always been lucky enough. I know enough law enforcement and whatever with my family and this, that, and the other, that I would actually order the cards because they weren't even cards that any of the local law enforcement around here had. They used totally different cards,
Sure.
but they had the know-how and the equipment to do them. So I would order the cards
Yeah.
and get them in the mail, and then call up and say, "Hey, when can I come by the station?" Or whatever. Get these,
Yeah. I mean, it was. You're right. It was a different time.
But
And
now,
once I sent that in, I sent it in with a check. So, and you just sit there and wait for the check to be cashed. And once the check was
Right.
cashed, you knew it was like another 4 or 5 weeks, and it would be there.
well, now it's pretty fucking nuts with the kiosk.
Yeah, the kiosks are awesome.
Digital. So
I had a Form 1 come back.
well, not just with
in-
the kiosk, right? Like,
Yeah.
here's the thing. There was a gentleman that come in the other day, and he said, "My suppressor is here. I need to pick it up." And so I went and I looked. I couldn't find a stamp. I couldn't find any paperwork on it. It was there, but all I had was where it had been transferred right to the dealer. It had been purchased and transferred to the dealer. And I said, "Well, have you done that?" "Well, I've done the paperwork." I said, have you done the NFA paperwork? Have you done the fingerprints, the picture, all of that?" And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "Okay, have you paid your $200?" He said, "No." I said, okay. Different set of paperwork, man. Like, we gotta do that. I said, "So have you he said, "Well, I just bought one like 6 or 8 months ago." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" I said, "You use the kiosk?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I go over to the kiosk. Of course, he had to retrieve his password and shit. He didn't know what any of that was, but he pulled up his silencer shop account, and I went over to the computer, logged the suppressor into that account, right? And he basically said, "Click, click," and he didn't even have to fucking redo fingerprints or the passport photo because it had been less than a year. So when you e-file and go digital, as long as you buy something every year, like you theoretically, you never have to even fucking go through all that shit now. It's crazy.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, so I did a bunch of Form 1s back in 2021, maybe 2019 through 2021. And I just did a bunch of Form 1s, like one right after the other. And I think the fastest one I had back was in like 12 days. Like it was nuts.
Yeah. Quickest
And
one I've ever had, and I haven't done anything NFA in several years now.
now I did cut the dealer out of that, right? Because I was on a Form 1.
Pre-pandemic, for sure, all of that mess. It's been a while since I've done anything. I mean, I've other people and stuff. Obviously, I've ran theirs and done stuff, tons and tons, but myself. And the quickest one that I've ever had was about maybe just under 3 months.
So do you work in a gun shop here and there, or are you part of one, own one?
Yeah, so yeah, there's a local gun shop that I've known the guys for years. And when I started doing the YouTube thing, they actually put me on payroll because I was there all the time anyway, hanging out. And I would take people down to the range and demo suppressors and do things. And then when I got the channel, they said, "Hey, why don't we just put you on the FFL?" And so there are now, I predominantly or mainly I would work just as I was there. They needed gunsmithing done or demo stuff or whatever capacity. But there are periods of time, and July is going to be, unfortunately, one of those periods of time, I think, where I have to work there a lot more. They actually call and they say, "Hey, we're going to need help." And so I got to go in and I'll legitimately actually work. I'm on a schedule, more or less, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I'm on the schedule.
I'm really interested. So and I've had this conversation with a lot of FFLs. So the NICS system, how many times have you, and I don't know, does Texas use only the NICS system, or do they do like a lot of states and have their own system as well?
Texas, it's just NICS.
Just NICS.
Yeah.
So I find that the states that just use NICS, like Colorado just uses NICS, and Texas and some others, they seem to have like less issues.
Sure.
Um,
Imagine that, right?
yeah, but like here in Tennessee, I have watched because I used to really be in gun shops every day. I've watched so many false denials that and then or I guess they're not really false positives, right? But they're the guy, something comes back that is a mistake somewhere or an error.
Yeah. I've seen ex-law enforcement officers get denied.
Yeah. I had a I've been denied, but it was just a weird thing. And I'll talk about it in a minute, but it's interesting because I didn't know this, right? But one of the like in Tennessee, we use what they call ticks, and it's basically the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, and they don't run you through NICS, they run you through their own system, and it has its flaws. And I watched a guy get arrested because even though when you go to buy a gun, if something comes back and you have like a warrant or something, the gun is not supposed to trigger anything. But in Tennessee, it does. In Tennessee, if it comes back that you have a warrant or you miss court or something like that, even for a speeding ticket, the more than likely you're going to be sitting there waiting, and some cop's going to show up. And I watched it happen this was right after I moved back from Colorado, and I'd never seen that before. And I'm watching this, and this dude's like just sitting there waiting for his, they're like, oh yeah, your transfer is just taking a lot of time. And he just kept waiting and waiting. And finally here comes a cop walking in.
And that's why the state
and that's supposed to be against the law. That's supposed to be against the law.
That's why the state level checks suck. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Ava the G? I see you in there. I'll send you a link if you want one. You can come up and jabber for a minute. So it's an interesting thing. When I was in Colorado, and I had not bought and at that time I'd left most of my guns here in Tennessee. I didn't even have a 22 rifle. And so you know how it is. I'm there for like a month, and I get bored. I'm like, I want to go shoot. I'm going to go buy a Ruger 1022. So I go down to Gander Mountain and pick out a 1022 off the shelf. I fill out the 4473, and it comes back to 9. I'm like, the fuck? And they're like, well, you have to. The only way you can deal with it, because it is go down to the CBI, to go down to their Colorado Bureau of Investigation and get it straightened out.
Right.
And so it took me 2 fucking days, Clover Tech, to figure out that the way they run it through both NICS and their private system, and usually it doesn't kick anything in their private system or the state system, but I have a common enough name that someone with more or less my name had lived in the area where I live.
Yeah, you do.
And it just tripped, right? It's not supposed to do that, because you give them your like social security number and everything, but it's not supposed to do that. But
well, you don't have to. You don't have to give them your social. That's not required.
I know, but it's supposed to make it more.
But if you do, it shouldn't have kicked back. And then also, if you don't want to do that, a lot of people don't know this, but you can get a personal ID number. So if you're constantly getting delays or denials that you have to sort out, it might be worth getting that personal ID number. Just saying.
Yeah, it was just a minor annoyance. I went down the first day, and actually maybe I didn't do the social security number on that one. But I went down. They said, yeah, how long have you been in this? Well, actually they were surprised I had a Tennessee driver's license still. And I'm like, well, I just moved here. And they're like, you haven't lived at that address at, in whatever the fuck year it was. I'm like, no. I'm like, and so it was just
Well,
a weirdness in the way the system sorts data,
yeah.
right, and connects things, and
I'm
which I'm sure has been updated like a million times, but
I'm
it's really
lucky because I only bought guns for 3 years because of age restrictions. I only bought guns for 3 years before I turned 21, and then shortly thereafter had at the time it was a concealed handgun license, and now it's licensed to carry. That which I've got to renew before my birthday this year. I'm glad we're talking about that. Anyway, and thankfully it's just getting online and clicking some buttons and paying $25 or something. But anyway,
yeah. Georgia
and
used to do
so
that.
the license to carry counts as the background check. So
Mhm.
you bypass all of that stuff. So once I was 21-ish, I don't get denied because I don't get ran. You know what I mean? I don't get
Right.
ran for anything to hang up. Now, prior
Yeah.
to that, I would put in my social security number because I was always told that. I was always told that if there happens to be something that's weird about an address or a name or something, that
Yeah.
it can hang, and that helps them
Yeah.
to figure
Yeah,
that
for sure.
out.
It's weird. I mean, I hadn't had anything, I had never had a problem before, and I had a problem at Gander Mountain. So, um, it
Now
was
I
just
can
one of
tell
those
you.
things.
Now I can tell you this because I bought
Mhm.
in my life. I haven't bought many, but I've bought. And I don't remember it being this way until the last decade or so. But walking into Walmart and buying one, holy fucking shit! If anybody's ever done that before,
I have
the
not.
the process is unbelievable. So first of all, they don't take you. You're gonna get a background. They're gonna run you through NICS, right? They do corporate policy, right? They don't accept it, right? Even though the FFL can accept it, they don't. Um, but just you walk in there and like Gander and Academy and like those places, they're pretty quick unless they're busy. But fucking Walmart, dude, you walk back there and you got to push a button to get somebody there, and then they got to, hey, I want to look at that rifle, and then they got to call somebody that's got a
You
key
got to call a
unlocked
manager, right?
that
They got to call a
stands
manager.
there while you look the rifle. The rifle has a trigger lock on it, so you're not going to be able to like test the trigger or do anything on the fucking thing because they will not remove the trigger lock. Then you put it, you say, okay, I want this. They get your information, they put that back in the case, right? They call somebody else that then one of the security team that goes back and unlocks a cage in the back and gets one out of the cage that also has a trigger lock. They bring it to the counter. You look that over and say, is this one good? Because they won't sell you the display. And then they go put it back in they get the numbers off of it. They go put it back in the fucking cage. They don't even leave it there while you're doing the paperwork. And oh my God, it takes over an hour. Like to
Yeah.
buy a gun at fucking Walmart. Like over an hour, dude. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. I've heard that. I've actually heard that from a couple of people, and I didn't think it was that big a deal. I was not aware of all of that, but
Now, to be
um,
honest, Walmart guns are shit. So,
I had
they're
a buddy of
not,
mine buy like a Savage
yeah, they're shit.
Axis or some really cool Marlin there, and
They're not the same. They're
really,
not the same. Now, if you look at the serial numbers, so this is Walmart, this is that way with TVs and electronics and shit too. I can't tell you the number of laptops and computers I had come in the shop before that were bought at Walmart. And we worked on fucking tons. We were the only shop in the entire county and maybe several surrounding counties. And so we worked on a ton of shit. And I would notice that it seemed like every once in a while there would be one that's like, why is this HP or this whatever the fuck so different? Like, what the fuck? Like, did you change this or change that? And they're like, no, we bought it new. And finally put two and two together that it came from all of these are coming from Walmart. And then I got to paying attention to serial numbers. And you could tell by the way that it has a completely different structure to the serial number. So Walmart is the same way with a lot of stuff, not just their electronics, and their guns are one of them. So the guns that Walmart get are not the same that go through the normal distribution process.
mm,
And it's one of them situations where you've got Walmart that calls the company up and says, hey, we want whatever, 10,000 of these guns, and here's what we're going to pay, right? Well, when they do that, there's like no negotiation because it's fucking Walmart. And so when they do that, the company tends to cut corners. And you spoke of Savage. I'll give you a prime example. If you go right now to Walmart and you purchase a Savage Mark II and take it home, and then you go down to your local gun shop and buy a Savage Mark II and you take it home, the Savage Mark II you bought at the gun shop is going to have the Accu stock as well as the Accu trigger. And the action is going to be it's a completely different fucking action. Completely different fucking action.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Henry,
same way. Like, and they don't carry very many brands. Walmart don't anymore, but because they don't carry handguns anymore, obviously, and they don't carry any scary black rifles or anything like that. It's
they
hunting
doing
shit.
Sandy
22s and hunting shit is all they sell. But yeah, they're definitely, you put one by the other, and it's not just the serial number. I mean, you can tell by the features and the quality and everything else, they're not the same. Now, to be fair, you do run into that with, or you're starting to, you have the last several years anyway, you're starting to run into that with Academy and Bass Pro and some of those too. You got to really pay attention and know your stuff. If you're just, getting a gun to hunt or something like that, that's fine. But if you're buying something high end from one of those places, you're probably okay. But if you're getting their budget stuff, and especially the Black Friday deals and things that are on sale, you definitely need to be mindful of that.
Yeah. I have this, I thought this was good. I'm going to, let me hang on. I'm trying to get this.
Seth out there saying, surprised that they even sell guns anymore. Many locations don't sell guns.
Yeah. Hey, Kissy Cat. Good to see you. I found this video, and this is really funny about, it's I guess Netanyahu or whatever. Let me give it sound and we'll hit play. You're great. This is the end of it. It'll start over. Did I give him a sound?
I don't have sound, but
all right, hang on. Let me drop it out.
Am I supposed to have sound?
Yeah, it was supposed to have sound. What happens is that
well, your donos or whatever don't.
You know what it is? Yeah, you got to do it this way. I got to do it this way. No, it's just a kind of a weirdness with this deal. You got to click whether you want sound or not. So, let me do this. So anyway, while I'm doing this, how was GunCon?
Dude, it was fucking packed. So members only over on my channel have a walkthrough. It's about 5 minutes. Part of it's sped up, obviously. But I walked completely from outside where the food trucks was, videoed a line that was fucking 3/4 of the way around the block. This was 15 minutes after the doors opened, all the way up through the factory, basically, which was a cool fucking factory it was held in, and then onto the floor, and I walked the floor. So very cool video. Members have access to it now, and then everybody else will, of course, later on. But I got an echo now.
I don't have. You got it. Oh, yeah. I got you. Okay. Here, hang on. Let me turn the volume.
Because of your fucking shit, you better get your own fucking army, pal. I'm what counts out here. You know, I get calls from back home every fucking day. They think you went batshit. You wanted to go on TV.
Yeah, I did want to go on TV. That way I have a forum. I can fight back. I'm known. People see me. They know they can't fuck around with me like they could if I was an unknown. That's right.
Get this through your head, you Jew motherfucker, you. You only exist out here because of me. That's the only reason. Without me, you, personally, every fucking wise guy still around will take a piece of your fucking Jew ass. Then where you gonna go? Your fucking warrant don't ever go over my fucking head again, you motherfucker, you. Listen to people because of your fucking shit? You better get your own fucking army, pal. I'm what counts out.
That's great.
Yeah, it is pretty funny. The funny thing is that it really it kind of went with that whole Iran and Israel have been fighting each other long. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. That kind of all like that's like right there.
Yeah.
So I'd forgotten about that movie. That movie's awesome.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But yeah, GunCon. Yeah, it was man, you should have been there. Fuck.
You know, man, I've been so busy with literally everything else.
We didn't come through your way, by the way.
That's too bad.
We ended up turning before.
I told you would. I told you that would be the case.
We ended up turning. We went, in between Little Rock and Memphis, and then we kicked up through Missouri, cut the corner out of Tennessee, and then kind of went diagonal across Kentucky and went up that way. We had never been that way before. It's one of the reasons we had been up through Illinois and going to Indiana that way.
Kentucky's nice.
But we had never cut across like Kentucky and the corner of Tennessee like that.
Yeah.
And so, man, traffic was so fucking amazing going that way. Like you could just hammer the fuck down on it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
There's not nearly as much traffic as the major, interstates. But anyway, a few things of note at GunCon because there were some cool products there. The Tandem Cross, which you're familiar with, the Tandem Cross guys, had the lightest weight fucking 22. Now there wasn't a Ruger part in it, but it was a 1022 clone, right? But the lightest weight fucking 22 I have ever felt in my life. This fucking thing is like 3 pounds, maybe, right?
Nice.
Just fucking insane light, dude. They have pistols there that were heavier than that rifle. It was amazing. And hopefully I'll be getting some stuff to put one of those together before too long. And then Yankee Hill Machine has a new modular shotgun can.
Oh, interesting. I thought they were out of business.
Oh, no, they're still around, dude. They're still around. I've got Yankee Hill Machine shit from back 30 years ago.
So Alan, you know who Alan Zeta is?
Man,
he developed the LR300.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he worked with Yankee Hill Machine on that, and he doesn't have a whole lot of nice things to say about him. And I think it was maybe they went through like a tough time and had to downsize or something. And
probably they were a major player. I
thought they were gone. I really did.
They still are a pretty major player, just kind of behind the scenes. They don't. Here's the thing. Here's the conversation that I had with them because they pulled me to the side. I've had their stuff for years. I've known them for a long time, and they do not and have not really got into the heavy marketing. They never fucking have. So we had a pretty good conversation about, hey, motherfuckers, you need to send me some shit, and we'll work with these creators that are here. And I think that's one of the reasons they were at GunCon. GunCon is a real creator centric show, and I think that's one of the they were not there previous years, and so I think that's why they were there, is to start trying to up their marketing game, because they've been around forever and they got good shit. They just don't, like, especially the newer generations and newer crowd, like, doesn't know that Yankee Hill is like the OGs, man. But the shotgun can, dude, is cool as shit because
modular. You said
it's got sections that it comes with these different length rods.
So it's like a rugged.
Every time, kind of, I guess. Okay. But every time you add a section, it's got 8 sections, and so anyway, you just pull these rods and yank however many sections you want, and then put the appropriate length rods, screw those back in, right? It is fucking cool as shit. So that was the second one, and then High Point's new their new AR-15. Holy shit, dude! For High Point, That thing is solid, dude.
Hmm.
Solid. Like it is not. You would think High Point. Okay, their shit's gonna be like all super heavy and shit because their handguns
Yeah.
are, and their carbines are. But dude, it's the lightest fucking gun they got. Like it's fucking
Lighter
nice.
than their pistols.
It is, man. It is fucking nice to come
That's
from High
funny.
Point and to be in that 400 to 500 range. You know,
Yeah.
like it's fucking nice.
It's an
And
interesting.
it just released. They just released it. By the way, it's the first time I got to shoot it. So I was a little skeptical until I got to shoot it. Of course, I know who makes it, and I can't say, but I actually know who makes it.
Right.
Or I know who makes the components. Let me back up.
Right,
High Point
yeah.
actually builds them, but I know who actually provides the components. So it should be good. But they released that at NRAM in Atlanta, back in April or whenever the fuck it was. But there was not a range day with NRAM. It got canceled, and so we didn't get a chance to shoot it until this past weekend. And it's legit, folks. Don't sleep on it if you're looking
in
for
market.
something. Yeah, Jake, as a matter of fact, needs to be looking at that one maybe.
Yeah. You know, I before I forget, first, shoot me the link, Ghost. Ava the G, if you're still hanging out, let me know. Hit me on Discord or something, and I'll throw you the link, and you can come up. For those of you guys that don't know, Ava the G did a expose on what's his name, Zach Gematria guy, and it was quite funny. It was quite funny. I now getting back to GunCon, I probably should have gone. I've just been, dude, I'm so covered up with everything else right now.
Well, there's no fucking excuse. The next one is next month. It's goals in Knoxville. There's no fucking excuse that you should not be in Knoxville.
That's true. That's true.
That's just down the road, bro. Come on.
Yeah, it is. It's literally 2 hours away.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could make a day trip on that even or something.
I probably could. Also, by the way, I didn't realize that Friday is.
Oh, and if you do media, which I can probably help you get in with media,
all right.
if you have any trouble. But if you do media, you could actually come in. It's a Thursday is range day, Friday is media only, and then for the show floor, and then Saturday and Sunday is open to the public. So if you get in as media, you could actually come down on Thursday, and you get to shoot fucking shit and play with us. Just saying.
I don't know who this Peggy person is, but don't spam my chat, bro. It's bad look.
That's
for you.
Peggy from Capital One or whatever, isn't it? Customer support.
Could be.
Yeah, I think that's what that is. Remember those commercials?
Dimly. I guess I just didn't pay much attention to it. So that's I mean, that's interesting stuff, man. That's I really need to go to GunCon. You know, it's I got a lot of stuff I need to do.
You need to go to something.
I need to do something, that's for sure.
You got GunCon. So you got goals next in August, and then in October, that's every other month. Damn. And then in October, you got TriggerCon in Wichita.
Yeah, get triggered at TriggerCon, folks. Get triggered at TriggerCon. All right, so let's play this. Why is it not playing? I got to pull it over here.
I don't know why.
Because they are trying to avoid ice. Difference between oral sex and anal sex.
What?
Oral makes your whole day. Anal makes your whole week. Difference between R. Kelly and Woody from Toy Story. Woody goes limp when a child walks in. It's another name for coming in a woman.
What?
Loading the dishwasher.
Hey Yeti, what's the difference between a feminist and a knife?
I don't know, bro.
At least a knife has a point.
What do you call a rich Chinese person?
What?
Cha-ching. What do you call a stoned kid with Down syndrome? A baked potato.
That's actually pretty funny.
Hey, Yeti, how do you circumcise a hillbilly?
How?
Kick his sister in the jaw.
All right, that. All right, Ghost. I gotta give you that was Ghost 1978 sent that in. Those are like dad Bigfoot dad jokes, and that's pretty fucking funny, to be honest. What's up, Michelle? How are you? Kick his sister in the jaw. Damn, that's cold blooded, man.
Right.
Words to live by, folks. Words to live by.
Man.
Anyway, where I was going to go somewhere before the joke fest started.
Oh well.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff on my plate already that I'm always willing, obviously, to add more. GunCon would be cool to do. I probably need to do it.
GunCon or Goals? Goals is just right down the road.
Yeah. Well, just shoot me the dates in Discord and like the info, because I'll look it up online and I'll see if I can't make something happen. So it'll be cool. I haven't been to like I wanted to go. I kind of wanted to go to SHOT Show this year. We'll see if that happens. So
Yep. You've got a big enough channel. You should be able to.
yeah.
And going as media to any of them is the perk, because you get the range days and you get the all access and all that.
Right. Yeah, and I get to talk shit to everybody. Yeah. $5 from K2. Keep on trucking. Everyone have a good 4th of July. Stay safe. If I don't see you guys till after the holiday week, good stream grid. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's kind of a low-key stream tonight. We're just chilling. We're hanging out. We're just.
Michelle said that's a good color on you, and I would agree. That when I brought the stream up first thing, I don't know, it was just something about that color and all. It just had a pop to it.
This is a new. I ordered every so often there's a guy down in Florida that makes these shirts for the airplane that I have, and they have like the whole like routine, and it's got the basically the picture of my plane, and then the long easy there. It's pretty cool, and on the back it's got like an exploded view of one. It's actually a really cool shirt.
Yeah, I've got a new shirt coming.
Got them in gray and blue.
I'll have a new shirt that will drop hopefully before Goals next month.
Awesome,
hopefully.
Dude. Send it to me. I'll wear it.
The third design.
Yeah. Michelle, part of the reason it pops is because I turned the light way up. It used to be dimmer in here, and I noticed that I get a little less reflection on my glasses if I have more light.
Blue colors also, just because of the way that they absorb and reflect light.
Mm-hmm.
If you get like white lights, especially and stuff on blue, that's why it makes them pop. Is there's the lack of red.
Yeah, and I have the light on like the a very white setting. So
figured you probably did.
Yeah. So, man, what an evening. Anyway, I thought Ava the G was going to come up. For you guys that don't know, Clover Tack, did you watch the debate with Andrew Wilson and Zach, whatever the hell his name is, the Gematria guy?
Is that the number guy?
Yeah, the Gematria guy.
Yeah.
So Ava the G. All right. So first of all, for people that don't know, Ava the G has a channel where I haven't actually paid much attention to it, so I really don't know what her content is. But one of the things that she kind of does is she kind of tries to do these exposés on people, like an investigative reporter kind of deal, right? And she's really good at research, and she wants to dig up the dirt and make the expose. She's kind of like a tabloid, just think of it as YouTube tabloid. And so obviously Zach is an easy target, right? Because he's full of shit. And so she did a pretty good job of like researching it, finding the people that detracted, finding the people that felt like that, they had lost money or whatever. And, and she did a really good job, I think, of doing the research. Right now, could she have framed it better? Sure, she could.
Yeah, right.
Or, could the way that she did the story been a little better? Yeah, I think so. But for what it was, honestly, it wasn't. It was great. Honestly, it was great. And it would be nitpicking to do it.
Mhm.
And CT over at Chaotic Truth got a hold of it.
Oh Lord.
And he basically was sitting there reviewing it for like 3 fucking hours ago.
Wow.
And at the same time, Zach and Ava popped up in the chat. And of course, they got links. They got to come up. I was already in the chat. And for the most part, originally, I was just kind of sitting there as being like, it was being cool. But the thing is that I think Zach's full of shit. I think he's a liar. And I think that he's, he's one of those people that like, it doesn't take a lot to make me like make a smart ass comment in his direction, right? Like I don't need a lot of motivation to do that. And also remember, you probably remember if you think about it, but Ava's been on the show. It's not that I don't think a lot of her. It's just I just I don't. We don't travel in the same circles, so to speak. Just kind of. It's kind of relevant, right? Like I don't have an opinion one way or the other. She was investigating me, I guess, for a story, but obviously there was nowhere to go with that because there's not much there to expose that I don't expose on myself. So, but Zach hits all the like crazy buttons for me. He's a scam. He gives me the scammer vibe, the liar vibe, all the like. For somebody like me that doesn't really believe in vibes, he gives off a lot of fucking vibes. So I was just kind of being very quiet. Just kind of, I didn't set out to fuck the guy up today or anything, but unfortunately for him, he just kept running his mouth. And the thing is like Ava was actually making good points, and Zach was just doing his motor mouth bullshit. And I called him out on it, and I got very animated. I don't know who saw that. I mean, I guess ZD Den saw that. But I was pretty hard on him. I told him that I would buy his broke ass a plane ticket, fly him to Nashville, meet up with him, and beat his ass if he thought he could do it. And I'd give him $100, whether he won or not.
I want to rephrase that, but
Chris Pundo. And he did not take me up on that, Clover Tech. He did not.
I wouldn't take you up on you eating my ass either. Like
I said, beat his ass.
Oh, okay.
You turn your volume up. Glenn says, "I'll do it. I'll do it for 150."
Does anybody hear an echo when I'm talking? I'm hearing an echo.
No, sounds good. Audio's good.
I got an echo.
Okay. But Zach declined the offer, and so I just really got. Apparently, they do hear an echo. I don't hear an echo. So,
mute for just a second.
Yeah, okay, I can mute.
Test. Yep, it's on grid sound.
Let's try again.
All right.
Do I have that? I might have my mic sensitivity turned up a little too much.
It wasn't. It didn't do it until you started playing those videos. But there was a really bad echo on my end when you were playing those videos. But I don't know. Anyway,
Well, it should be gone now because I have nothing.
is it gone? Is it gone? I don't hear it. Yeah. Good job.
All right. What's up, Glenn Lawrence? I'll throw you a link, buddy. Why not? What the hell? Gang's all here. Abe, do you want to come up? I want to hear about my fishing. I want to hear what you guys thought about the fishing.
Do we
thing that I saw.
really? Do we really got to hang out with Glenn? I mean, do we really?
I mean, you know, maybe.
There are worse people to hang out with.
And you know all of them.
But yeah. That too. Unfortunately. Yeah. Valid.
Yeah, so the whole thing with the Gematria guy today was just like, it was funny. Like, he apparently made a video that she found that where he said that he could not go do the conference that he had planned on doing for his subscribers because he didn't get enough super chats or whatever. And so she was basically calling him brokey, you know, she was like, you're fucking brokey, man. So, and it was very funny. I mean, honestly, and again, I don't particularly think that much of Ava in general, but I got to be honest, man, she beat his ass.
Yeah.
You want an invite? I got you, bro.
I get why people will do that. If you say, hey, I'm not gonna do this unless I get, X, number of super chats or whatever. Like, there's part of that. It's kind of like the whole thing with, if when like treating somebody like a little kid in a way, but if you say something about a little kid, you should hold to that and go through. Like, if you say, no, we're not going to play this or shoot or do whatever unless you clean your room, and then you go in there and it's 70% clean, you don't fucking cave in and and take them. That's just a bad way to handle people in general, I think. So assuming that was, but I mean, who knows if that was his deal or he was just using that as an excuse to checking the fuck out, because again, who knows? So he could certainly use that as
well. I think Zach takes advantage of sports betting people who want to believe really hard that because I pressed him pretty hard. Like, I pressed him pretty hard. I was like, make a prediction for me. Tell me when my airplane's going to be done. Right? Like, tell me when this. Well, I don't know anything. And he's like, I'm talking about a global cabal that rigs sports betting, and I'm like, the fuck. So I have no shit. I was like, okay, how do I fix the Super Bowl? Who do I have to pay? How much? If it's rigged, how much to have the Cowboys win the Super Bowl? They haven't won the Super Bowl in like 25 fucking years. They're due. Right? Like, how much does it cost to have the Cowboys
do this? Yeah.
Win the fucking panel.
I know a Saudi prince, right? Let's do this.
Right. Like, I'm like, and he's like, it's the Jesuits. And he's like, it was this weird, I forget the guy's name now, Arturo Sosa. He's the head of the Jesuits right now. And it was just so fuck. I mean, it's like you couldn't make this shit up, dude. And I'm like, a global cabal. Yeah, I called Arturo Sosa, and who's the head of the cabal apparently. So they didn't let me talk to him, but they said that he'd call back. I'm still waiting, but yeah. So it's and what's her name? Ava had gone through and like predicted or had documented where if you had followed his predictions, you would have lost money. I saw at the time you started talking. Okay. Okay, 4 or 5. All right, yeah. All right, I'll yeah. Let's let me see. It's where I started talking to Zach. This is pretty funny. You guys are gonna like this. But I'm like, how much does it really cost to rig a Super Bowl? Right? I mean, that's useful information, right?
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Let's do this, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm positive that some person somewhere would love. I mean, they would pay hardcore.
Oh, just to fuck with it, right?
Yeah, just to have the Cowboys win? Are you kidding? Yeah, absolutely would. So I mean, you know. All right, so let me do that. This is great. This is going to be good, guys. You're going to like this. I can't believe Glenn Lawrence hasn't jumped up here yet. That's all right. It's fine. It's fine.
He's scared.
Yeah, he probably is. All right, so here we go. So there's Ava. There's Zachary, the douchebag. Look at his little douchebag hat. He's wearing a white fucking t-shirt. Like seriously, get a fucking job. All right, and this is where I start talking. Listen to the music in my head. Oh wait, why didn't this?
That's what I was going to say. I don't see anything or hear.
Why didn't that come up?
Technical difficulties, obviously.
It was weird. There we go. All right. Once again.
Society that's based in Kabbalah, many of the founders and original presidents were members of. What secret society is that, Ava?
Dude, there's like other people in here right now, and they're just talking about how dumb you sound, Zach. Like
how dumb I sound?
Yes. You like it's Zach. None of this adds up when people aren't getting the outcomes that you promise. When there's so many instances of you getting
when have
so
I ever
much
promised
wrong.
outcomes? When have I ever said I promise this is the outcome?
You have just claimed that this is like the most insane knowledge in the universe.
It is the best knowledge for getting ahead of the curve.
Yeah. So if it's as accurate as
NASCAR.
guaranteeing people that they're going to have positive outcomes if they sign up for your sports,
did Hendrick Motorsports win the Daytona 500 after a rain delay? In Gematria, rain equals 24, and number 24 won it both years. And the first rain delay put it so that the race was on the anniversary of Hendrick Motorsports. We called that off before the race finished on that day. And again, weather control is a real thing for the
Zach, if your method worked, it would be exponentially growing. Everybody that signed up for it, bring it with their family.
Ava, my work was always exponentially growing until I got deleted June 28, 2017, and have consistently been deleted on a very regular basis. Now 20-some
Zach, nobody was watching those muted videos. Zach, hold on.
I gotta be honest. This dude talks like 40 fucking miles an hour. Like, this is crazy how fast this dude talks. And he doesn't say anything. He just talks really fast.
Hold on. Nobody was watching those muted videos you played anyway. I've gone through the videos on your channel. They don't even break 1,000 views, Zach. So it's like
Ava,
nobody wants.
When was it? Hold on.
Algorithm when you're literally just showing a single photo of a news article and talking in a monotonous voice over it, saying shit that's so boring somebody would fall asleep to it. Nobody's going to click on and watch that. You don't know how to stay up and current with the times, and people need to have their minds stimulated. They need to have the screen changing, have something that adds visual interest, Zach, and then it might
stimulating is the screen changing, not important knowledge and information.
Nobody's going to consume the important knowledge and information unless you make a more stimulating video. Have you watched recent video essays?
That's the sign of a low IQ, Ava, which is mostly what's cultivated.
No, it's a sign of a low attention span, Zach, which everybody has nowadays thanks to the internet. It's a low attention span.
They go hand in hand.
You have to add a little bit more visual interest.
She's right. Everybody's got TikTok brain these days.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's fucking true, dude. Like you have to.
And
It's
here
like
we go.
you don't look inward at all and think, maybe I'm at fault.
I just have I have a
this year, which
kind of
is unprecedented.
standard question here. Can Gematria tell me who's going to win the Super Bowl?
How many more years do I have to do it? How many more years do I have to do it? Grid One Motorsports.
Well, in retroactively, you say that, but I don't know that you said that ahead of time because you never, ever had given a prediction. I tell you what, it doesn't have to be the Super Bowl. It doesn't have to be the Super Bowl. It doesn't have to be the Super Bowl. Let's say this. Pick any fucking thing you want, make a prediction about it.
Do it all the time. We already have our future in for the World Series.
When will I finish my airplane? Can you predict that?
Why would I be able to predict that? I don't know anything about you.
Right, exactly. Why would you be able to predict that? Well, all right. How about this?
Here, let me see if you have enough.
Who's going to win? Who's going to win the 24 hours a day?
Yesterday, Grid One Motorsports.
January.
Hold on. In Gematria, Orioles equals 93. Okay, Orioles equals 93. Yesterday, the pitcher for the Rangers was going for his 93rd career win. Do you understand why that is something I could say? Well, that makes a lot of sense for that veteran pitcher to get his 93rd win over the Orioles when no other team
let me
in
ask you this.
93.
Who's going to win?
Hold on.
Who's going to win the Daytona 24 hours in January?
See, what I see in the low IQs is things like what you just did. Well, why can't you predict when I'm going to finish my plane? How the hell am I supposed to predict that based on where with Gematria you have fixed variables like Orioles equals 93, so it makes sense why a veteran.
The name of my airplane is the Long Easy. Right there on my shirt. Right there. Long Easy. Now you got a variable. Now you got a fixed variable.
But is finishing your plane part of a rigged system like pro sports is?
Pro sports, what? Okay, all right, all right.
Rigged. They're totally rigged.
All right.
So, have you ever had an NFL player come on and do an interview with you like I did Larry Johnson?
So if I
hold on.
How much money do I have to pay to rig? How much money do I need to pay
NFL
to
player
rig
come on
the
and do a
Super Bowl?
stream with you? And Larry Johnson, for people don't know, he now teaches this.
How much money do I need to? How much money do I need to come up with to rig the Super Bowl?
That's a former NFL player doing it. Do you have something like that you have an accomplishment for?
How much money do I need to come up with to rig the Super Bowl?
Tell me.
How big a check? How big a check do I need to write? I'll go get my checkbook right now.
For what?
To rig the Super Bowl. You just said it's riggable. How big? How big a check?
I don't charge a lot for Patreon. I started out doing this for free for 5 years.
How much?
Oh my God!
Who do I make the check out to? You said it's rigged. Who do I write the check to, and how much is it?
Who do you write the check to? Are you trying? Do you mean for the future information?
No, he wants to rig the Super Bowl. How much does he have to?
Super Bowl. I want the Dallas Cowboys to win for the first time in 20 odd years. Yeah, right. Who do I pay to do that?
He's pretending.
How does he make it happen?
How do I make that happen?
Intelligence gap here to think that you're part of the rigging system.
No.
I have a lot of money. How much does it cost?
Oh my God!
He doesn't understand basic language, Zach. Grid one.
No,
listen to me. Listen, Zach. Listen to me. Listen to me. Grid one wants the Dallas Cowboys to win the next Super Bowl. How much is that going to cost to rig those games?
That's not the way it's determined. It's determined by the people who are doing the scripting, who use the sports theater.
How do I become one of those people? Again, can you give me a list of names? Whose dick does Ava have to suck to rig the Super Bowl?
Yeah, again, these aren't serious questions.
It's a serious fucking question. She'll do it. I know her. She'll do it.
You're not getting
rig the Super Bowl, she'll do it.
A really clear example from recent years. The 102nd NFL season is what was Super Bowl 56, okay?
Can you predict who's going to win right now, Zach?
Hold on. I want you to understand the importance of the ring, and then I want to talk about what they just did with these NBA finals. Do you see it? So you can see that the sport's bigger than just a team winning because somebody paid the most. No. In the 102nd NFL season, when the Rams won, Sean McVay brought out who to talk about the win? Who was standing?
I want to point out here that I literally just said, whose dick does Ava have to suck for the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl? Not only did she not get mad, Zach didn't even bat an eyelash. She's just kept going down this Gematria lane bullshit. most people would have been like, "Oh, come on, man, that's gross" or some shit. But no, I'm like, that's funny. I thought that was funny, And she looked. I mean, she was just like she didn't care, Just
standing by his side, Grid One.
I'm sorry, I don't care. I'm just simply asking, how do I rig the Super Bowl? You're talking to me about a rigged system. Rigged means that people can affect it. So who do I have to delete off the face of the earth? How much money does it cost me? Which CIA operation do I need to disturb? Just tell me how this happens. Who makes it happen? I will go. Look, you don't know who.
I'll tell you right now. Let me answer your question. He brought out his Ukrainian fiance. Okay,
I can make shit happen. I'm just saying.
Second NFL season. Art of War, the Jesuit text, equates to 102, just like World War. Big number.
Again, I don't care. I just need a name. Give me a name. Give me a name. Who do I have to go to rig the Super Bowl? You said it's a rigged game.
The Jesuits. Who is it?
It's always one guy. Always one guy, right?
No, it's
like
not.
You can say it's a cabal. There's always one guy.
Jesuits. It's the Jizz.
Yeah. Well, which Jesuit priest do I have to knock in the back of the head to rig the Super Bowl? I'll go do it right now. I'll get my plane. And we'll find that fucker, and I'll beat his ass.
Hey,
and he'll rig the Super Bowl.
You have a panel of just fucking losers.
I have the king loser above me right now. That motherfucker right there. Because I'm telling you that you are making no sense. You're telling me that it's rigged, and I'm saying, okay, who rigged it?
It's because you're a fucking loser.
If it's rigged, I know some people. I know people who hurt people, and we'll make shit happen.
Yeah, I'm sure you're as powerful as the military cabal, the Jesuits that control this nation.
So it's the military cabal and the Jesuits that would write the script for the Super Bowl?
Hold on. Let me go through this again. Is it true that from Cooties 19, remember when Cooties 19 was declared, they said it was the worst pandemic in 100 years?
Why can't you just answer questions straightforward?
Hold on, I'm going to show you how it's all connected. When Cooties 19 was declared, they said it was the worst pandemic in 102 years, and they said that was Spanish flu that came out of World War I. Do we recall this? Do we recall?
Not really.
Again, I don't care. I just need the name of the guy who rigs the games.
Okay, so hold on. From Cooties 19 being declared.
All right. So hold on. You know all these facts. You know all these figures. You are able to determine all this shit. Give me the name. Give me the guy's name. We'll find him. We'll take care of it. We'll stop the rig system.
No, you're not going to stop the rigged system. Listen, from Cooties 19 being declared, the pandemic to Russia-Ukraine breaking out was 102 weeks later, which happened right after the 102nd.
Yeah, that's all retroactive. I don't care. I want to know, who do I go to make things happen? If it's rigged, I just want a name. You can even make it up. You can say Neil Armstrong is the guy. We'll go beat Neil Armstrong's ass. And we'll make
it's
some
really
shit
easy. I figured it out. It's really easy. What you do is you wait for the Super Bowl to take place. Then whoever wins, 2 days later, Zach will come and tell you he predicted it a month ago. That's how the formula works.
6 days ago, seeing why it was going to be not guilty for Diddy. Should we watch that video? Just 6 days ago.
Wait, Zach, we're trying to learn here, and I feel like
so listen.
Wait, hold on. Can you not interrupt? Hold on.
It is a bit.
I haven't got to finish the point about 102 in the war.
Okay.
So again, the reason we know about the Jesuit text Art of War is because of the Jesuit priest Father Amiot, published in 1772. Again, Art of War equals 102 like World War. That was the 102nd NFL season where the Rams win with the same colors as Ukraine, as Sean McVay brings out his Ukrainian fiancé to talk about winning the Super Bowl. And then days later, you have this war beginning. And it's right as they're winding down Cooties 19 and all the lockdown and restrictions. Now, all of a sudden, the new thing in the world is what's going on with Russia, Ukraine, exactly 102 weeks later. These things are not an accident. Keep in mind, the Ram is Ares, the god of war, and NATO met for the first time.
Ares, the god of war. Hey, right are you done yet? Because this rambling is Fun fact: Zach has his next. Wait, why didn't that come up? There it is. Fun fact: Zach has his next 4 COVID booster appointments booked. That's true. Look, this is hilarious. Like, he can't answer a direct question. Like, not even just, he could have just made up any, but no, wait, it's seriously, it just gets better. Fucking tired.
We have just one answer.
I just need the name.
Give you the most money for it to
Who
be.
I just need the name
Who
and
is
how
writing the
much.
script?
I already did, moron. I said Arturo Sosa, the leader of the Jesuits. You fucking idiot.
Arturo Sosa. All right, let me find that fucker.
Fucking loser
Give me a
you
second.
are. I already answered you, fat piece of shit.
Thank you so much, Jimmy, for the dollar cash.
Again, the NBA Finals. Who just won it? The team we said that won it before the season began.
Can you spell that
Mark
Arturo's
Daigneault,
last name for me?
Mark Daigneault. The coach
Can you
of the Thunder.
spell Arturo's last name for me?
Sosa, like Sammy Sosa.
Oh, okay. All right.
4 letters, dumbass.
I thought there might have been a Z in there.
4 letters, moron. Okay.
Zach, can you definitively tell me whether Michelle Obama is a man
hold on. No,
or
I'm
not?
wrong. I'm wrong.
Laying down how the game is rigged. So think about it.
Yes.
The NBA Finals end the same day that we attack Iran. Who is the winning coach? Mark Daigneault, who started with the Jesuit school Holy Cross, the Crusaders. The Crusades were waged by the Knights Templar. What does Knights Templar equal in Gematria? 79. Who had just become the president? Or, I mean, who is the president?
Who gives a shit? It equals 11. The answer is 11. It's 11. Trust me. All right, I'm gonna have some people call Arturo, and we're gonna ask him about this shit. Just give me a second.
The last time the Thunder had won the finals, they were the Sonics. They won it in 79 when the Iranian Revolution occurred. That was 46 years ago, like Oklahoma's the 46th state, but keep in mind Catholic equals 46. So does religion. Temple Mount's got the big 46. And
Okay, can I ask
the only
you a
reason
question,
modern
Zach?
Israel is where it is because of the Templars, because they used Al-Aqsa Mosque as their headquarters.
Okay.
But again, the Crusades were waged by the Templars, the winning coach of the 79 season, paying tribute to the 79.
I'm looking for Arturo. Arturo Sosa.
Zach,
Yeah.
can you please stop
Yeah, Arturo.
So we can
Is
ask
he there? All right. They're getting Arturo for me.
Okay. If Arturo is writing the script, right, and this is everything is written.
They hung up.
Said that Arturo's writing
No,
the
you're teaching
script.
me a lot. Hold on, you're teaching me a lot. So everything is in a pre-written script. So why wouldn't you be able to call now? Who are the 2 teams that are going to play in the Super Bowl? What's stopping you from doing that?
We are going to do that again,
Why-
and that's what
right.
we do on Patreon. For anybody who wants that information, that's why I have.
You know what? You know what, Steelman? He makes you look sane. This dude makes you look like a normal dude. But and ZD did. I'm glad that you liked it when I called Arturo up, but they wouldn't let me talk to him. That's okay. So that was funny. It keeps going. This is just so.
See, you're
something
doing
occurred to me.
so that nobody knows. If you really wanted to spread your
Ava,
knowledge,
from
Zach, and your
2013
ability,
until September 2018, nothing was behind a paywall, and I had well documented my record. I even had USA Today write an article about me. Vice News, Sports Illustrated wrote the same thing Vice News did, but didn't put my name in it. Again, for 5.5 years, I did this for free and
You
helped
link
a lot
those
of people
articles
win
in
a
the back.
lot, which is why I had a lot of loyal people sign up when I monetized the service at a very low amount. You don't have facts. And
But why? Hold on. Why would you have to monetize it if you have your Gematrian knowledge?
How many times
Yeah, you
this year did I give out
just place
free
2 bets every once in a while.
Ava, on my channel?
This is my biggest problem with the Gematria bullshit. Okay, if you had a system that you'd figured out,
I wouldn't tell a fucking soul. Nobody.
Right? Like, you would be like literally, you'd walk in and place a $5 bet and walk out with $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just how this would work. If this was true in any aspect, this motherfucker other people would be he would not be appearing. He'd have people that you had to talk to him.
my God, to be
no,
able
CT.
to, if you can do all the sports betting and you have such knowledge and you're a millionaire and whatever, why do you need to put this stuff behind a paywall? Because I would be 100% convinced if you could predict right now.
Since Elon Musk, Bill Gates, all these guys have wealth, why don't they just do everything in their life for free right now?
Because they don't have the magical, mystical access to Gematria.
Yeah, they can't go down and place a $5 bet and turn it into $500,000. That's why.
They have a cost to do that business. You don't have any, you don't have any overhead.
What's the question?
CT, I just want to get this out. You know, there's a geeky. I mean, I know you're a bit of a geek in these things, so you probably know what I'm talking about. There's a book called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's a very famous book, and they made movies. Do you know that in that movie they asked the question, what is the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything? Yeah. What is the answer to that in that movie? Do you remember?
I can't remember. What is it?
It's the number 42.
Get the hell out of here.
Okay, so we just had the 181st day of the year.
Oh my God! It's the number 40 frigging 2.
But
I used to answer all questions with 36. Somebody'd say, "Hey, can I ask you something?" I'd be like, 36. There you go. There's your answer.
Damn.
But also deep.
That just blew my mind. It just came to me. It just came to me.
All of these things equal 42. Deep thought, computer, internet. That's the computer that asked the question. Hey,
okay, Zach.
CT, did you see the story about Malik Beasley? How he had a $42 million contract, but it's on hold because he was supposedly gambling. Did you see that story?
Yeah, I saw that yesterday. I did.
He's in Detroit on the 42nd parallel. In the sitcom Martin, does he live in apartment 42?
Yeah.
Does Martin equal 42 in Gematria, like slavery, like Tuskegee, et cetera, et cetera?
See, he's got a computer program where he puts
on the 181st day of the year.
I'll be right back, CT. I gotta take a
question. Art, you got a question for Zach? Art.
All right, so I missed this part because I had to go take a leak.
The same day the Malik Beasley story happened, did Oliver Gibson, the black athlete, die?
Okay, I have a question.
I'm going to be right back. I got to go take a leak.
For Zach. Okay. I think that if
that was brought forth, again, Diddy was arrested on the day, leaving 106 days left in the year. And his attorneys arrested their case 43 days after the trial began. You can see that those are all of the values of Cassie. Not to mention, you guys want predictions. I said a year before it happened why Diddy was going to go through this kind of ritual at age 54. This was predicted a year before it happened.
Wait, was the Cuts a mod for you? And you just said that he was never in your community, but he was a moderator in your chat?
He hung around and he came into the community at the time in New York, and within a month he became a full-time troll. That's called a plant.
Okay, but he was a moderator in your chat.
So. I give out wrenches to almost everybody for anybody who's ever been in my community. It doesn't mean anything. By the way, CT, why do you give Cuts? You know Cuts always blocks me in the chat anytime I leave a comment. CT, he blocks me every single time I leave a comment. That's part of the reason I'm coming around anymore. I'm like, look at this.
That's legit. Whoever's blocking this guy, that's legit.
Okay, I'm gonna take a large wrench.
Yeah, no, you need to. Why do you have so somebody who pretends to be a conservative? Why do you have this gender bender psychopath as a mod on your channel anyway? That's pathetic.
For the same reason why I have black supremacists, white supremacists.
I mean, why? Yeah.
But anyway,
Asians.
Ava, what you just did is you totally misrepresented my work and my accomplishments, and you brought on a troll and acted like he's some former member of the community with dirt. He's a troll who harasses my wife by calling her at her workplace. That's the kind of human being he is.
No, people say that his ex-girlfriend, he says it has the same exact claims against you, Zach.
Who's this?
Cuts. And that his ex-girlfriend is a loyal member of your community, and that she's made it her life.
His ex-girlfriend? He doesn't have a girlfriend.
There's multiple people that confirm this, Zach. Multiple people.
People that hang around Cuts?
One of the mods here.
So Cuts in the troll network are your sources. Think about how dumb you have to be to even bring that forth.
And your sources are your loyal cult members who literally agree with anything that you say and have zero critical thinking skills, Zach.
Zero critical thinking skills. I think
yes, zero.
Today that's you.
Hold on for a second. Cuts.
No, it's not. Please, I'm literally being critical of you right now.
Cuts. I don't want people being blocked from the chat. So I don't know if you know that.
I'm not gonna block Zachary or that. Because he was trying to fraud me. If he's saying some slander just like anyone else towards anyone else, I'll take their comment out. Yeah.
Okay, just time people out. But go ahead, Zach. Go ahead.
Okay, so what Cutso is saying about where are the 4 ciphers in Kabbalah? First of all, Kabbalah for the time of Babylon, nothing was written about it. It was all passed down as oral tradition. Everything was oral tradition. There's only a few books about Kabbalah. The Sefer Yetzirah, the Book of Formation, it says in the opening paragraph, God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. And Cuts in his community like to find an obscure translation that says it was created with numbers, letters, and sounds. That's not the common translation, but sounds aren't all that different than words anyway. And obviously, since it's Jewish and it's talking about Kabbalah, which is based in, and it's about numbers.
This guy just keeps talking and talking.
Yeah, right. The 4 cipher gematria that you're teaching, quote unquote, is not in the Kabbalah. You're lying about that.
Cuts again. Not everything is written
Where
down.
exactly is it found in the Kabbalah?
CT, can you put it back up on the screen? And I just want Cuts to debunk the fact about Cassie. Let's see him debunk it.
Hold on, Elohim. Ava made an incredible video about Zach. I gotta give it to her, and I was over here.
Zach, smoke that little bimbo. Zach, smoke her.
I don't know, man. She was smoking Zach, but okay, all right.
CT, where did she smoke me on? Tell me one thing she smoked on.
Ava, he doesn't need to make a prediction to make his point. Like, you're missing the point.
Oh shit.
Well, his point is that he is
traveler. Ava, he's not a time traveler. You're missing the whole point. You're missing the whole point.
What am I missing?
Him giving you a prediction is not going to do anything.
Yeah, it would. That would 100% convince me.
So since I gave CT the prediction last week about
point
Diddy
of
not
all
guilty,
of this is to
and this
make
week he already
predictions.
sits here and acts like
The
it's
entire
nothing, how would
point
that
is
prove anything?
It's like saying but I can't tell anything about your future.
Go ahead, Greg. Hold on, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, this is all really interesting, and now I actually understand why Gematria has such loyal, devoted fans, because they're all sports betting junkies.
Elohim, are you a sports betting junkie?
They just can't get enough of this shit. And I got to be honest with you. Normally, I don't really agree with Ava. And I kind of, we don't
like each other, but we agree on this.
Well, and it's not even that I don't like Ava. I just whatever. She can be annoying sometimes. But Zach, she has your nuts in her cast iron grip, and you should just admit it and let it go, bro. Just let it go.
So how to just define how
because you're literally so you distilled it down to, well, it's just sports betting. Sports betting, the cabal controls the sports betting. Okay, so I ask you who?
Sports betting.
It's some dude that nobody gives a shit about. By the way, Arturo, I'm waiting on a call back. There's a number. And what's up, Jack Talcott? This is now it's a party. Jack Talcott's here.
Listen
so
to how
Zach,
dumb this guy is.
I got to be honest with you. No, you don't know how dumb you sound. You think you're the smartest man in the room. You are literally
for centuries about the Black Pope. You fat fucking
idiot.
It
pains me to say that this is the one time that Ava sounds smart. You understand how hard it is to do to make Ava sound smart? Like, do you understand that?
Grid is agreeing with me, bro. Like, that is unheard of.
Anyway, so I'm just going to sit here and be cool. Zach, I hope that you have at some point proved something other than that you can talk 40 miles an hour, which is, by the way, is very fucking impressive. But I can't do that. So I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to hang out. I'm going to watch some more CT. This is awesome, bro. This is awesome.
Cares about the Black
I'm trying to figure out what the sports talk of betting cabal is, because I really do. Look, I'm not even a football fan. I don't give a shit about professional sports, but I would dearly love to be able to influence it to the point that the Cowboys win the Super Bowl. That'd be fucking awesome. I'm gonna see if I can make that happen.
Great. Before you go, I just want to tell you.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna hang out.
I suspect that Zach is actually amphibious, or at least a fish, because when he talks, you never see him inhale. He never takes a breath in. It's all out. It's all out.
Zach.
Hey guys, let Elohim go ahead, buddy.
Zach, you see how they're making jokes about this shit, and it's just this is exactly why humanity is just we're doomed, man. We're just
Wait,
we might,
hold
we
on.
gotta
Zach has
just
literally
sit
come
down,
in.
put our feet up, and just count the final days, because
Elohim.
look at
But
humanity.
while
You
that
got
dude's running his mouth, I got to be
overweight
honest with
people
you. I could have
fat people
probably
disgust me,
gotten
man. I don't know what it is
somebody
about fat people. I don't know.
to come in
It's coming to this country
and
just seeing because there's no fat people in my country.
said they
Exactly.
were
America's full of a bunch
Arturo,
of dumb
but
fat
it
slobs.
was
They all
just
think they're number one, like
that
Grid
would
One
have put it over the
Motorsports.
top.
Zach
Ignorant
immediately
You're calling.
starts
Hold on.
people's appearances. So yeah, people are gonna make jokes about it, and then you play the victim after Zach.
Wait, it gets better. Zach, bro, Zach. I will send you an airline ticket to come to Nashville. We will meet up face to face, and I will whoop your ass.
No, you wouldn't.
I will bet you. I will put $100 cash money on it.
You don't even have $100 to your name.
I'll put $100 cash money. Most money you've seen in one place in your life. I'll fucking put it there. I'll send you the ticket. Where the fuck do I send it? I will whoop your ass.
With a red face,
because I can tell you two things.
Guaranteed.
You don't know shit about fighting, and you've never been considered the most dangerous man in the room.
Dude.
Oh,
So
YouTube
bring
beats.
it, motherfucker. Bring it. Come on. Give me the address. I will send you the airline ticket, sir. I will send it to you right now. Like at Southwest.
You're
I'm pulling
not worth
Southwest
my
up
time,
right
buddy.
now.
Come on, guys.
Talk about.
Send me the address.
We need some of this white on white crime, man. We need some of this.
It's not
too
white on
much.
white
We see too
crime
many
when
brothers taking each other out
Actually,
these days.
Stupid. I have a question for Elohim.
I can be fat and still kick your ass.
All right, what's the question, Ava?
Okay, so if he just came in and said, oh well, he just left, but because he came in and
He's
said
gone.
About prediction, he said it's not about prediction. That's literally what Gematria is used for. Am I wrong on that?
No, that's not its main purpose at all. It can be used for that. Again,
Mikey Balls, that would be considering sports betting, so you should be able to predict the winner. That's sports betting, brother. That's sport. We got to figure out. The cabal's got to come tell me to take a dive, bro. That's sports betting. I can't get over Jack Talcott, man. That dude looks like he needs a fucking sandwich or some shit. Like, get that kid to the soup kitchen, like stat.
There's a reason that 4 years before it happened, I told everyone why Trump would be reinstalled in this election. I've been documenting all the 60 rituals nonstop up to today with the 60 Minutes lawsuit.
What you just said, right, is that you use it to predict if Trump will be in office, which you got wrong as well. You said that Kamala would be elected.
No, I didn't. That's not. I didn't say Kamala was going to win the
CT,
election.
CT, can I say something real quick, CT?
Yes, all right, go ahead. Because I'm about to get about it in 5 minutes anyway. Go ahead.
Yeah, happy White History Month.
Yes.
Way to kick it off.
Yes.
Way to kick it off. Go ahead. I'm done.
Yep.
I don't even know why I'm
Greatest
here.
month of the year.
I'm just here to be an FBA face on the panel. Happy White History Month.
Jack, I'm getting up out of here in 5 minutes. Jack, go ahead, Jack. What say you about Ava and her analysis of Gematria?
Again, everything she said was bullshit and false, and you praised it, which shows how pathetic you are.
Jack. I wasn't asking you, Zach.
Jack. Oh, sorry, our names sound the same.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest, I didn't see enough of the interchange to have an opinion, but can I swing back to something else that was just said about July and before you wrap up?
Can you turn your mic up or your sound up a little bit, Jack, or move closer to the mic?
Thank you
sorry.
so much,
I don't want to turn my sound up because everybody else is blasting.
Savage with the $10 cash app. He says, Elohim, go back to Africa. Go back to Africa. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead. That was disgusting.
That's rough.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Hey,
Okay, Jack. Go
I
ahead.
can't believe he said that at White History Month too.
Yeah, that was
disgraceful.
There we go. Hey, this month we have the potential. I have this idea. July 4th is coming up right now, and truly, Independence Day, where it started, it was a white man's tradition here in America. So let's be gracious and be true Americans, and let's share this blessing with the rest of the world. I want to speak to Donald Trump about these ideas of how America can lead the rest of the world to become independent from this banking scheme, the monopoly game, and the politics and the religion. We can overcome it all together.
He is such a cool.
And July 4th seems
CT,
like
if
a
you can
good
hear me,
goal.
bro, you're such a coon, bro. Like, it's actually crazy. It's actually crazy. Like, CT, if you can hear me, you're a coon.
How am I coon? How? I didn't even
It's
do
actually
anything,
like,
bro.
you know
What
what's
did I
crazy?
do?
Like some coons, you know, they just be out.
This really doesn't go that much different than this. The rest of it is just Zach being Zach and me telling him that he will not come and get his ass whooped like a man. That's basically
Grid, why did you make us enjoy that?
I know, right? But it would be funny. Yeah. The thing is that I mean, we got more echo. Glenn, say something.
I don't take orders from you, Whitey.
I don't have an echo. Do you have an echo, Glenn?
Yes, you're echoing.
I'm echoing. Why am I echoing? All right, try that.
Hello.
Yeah, that's cool. Mikey Balls says I handled that perfectly. I mean,
how about this? Echo?
Yeah, I don't hear an echo, but yeah.
Hold on. I hear echo. It's weird. All right, how about now?
You sound fine to me, but the
it's on my side.
Oh, you know what it is? It's the stream. I have the stream up. Stand by. Let me kill it.
What's stream up?
There we go. That should do it.
That does it?
Yeah, there's something with
yes, that did it.
Yeah, because it turns the thing into mics. But anyway, that was what do you think of that, Glenn? Should we hunt down Arturo Sosa and the 76-year-old Jesuit leader who apparently runs the cabal and whoop his ass and tell him the Cowboys need to win a Super Bowl?
I mean, if it's gonna get the boys another ring, I'm open right now. We can't trust, Prescott to do it, so we have to do it by any means necessary.
Yeah.
But that was painful.
Isn't it?
I thought you were punishing me. I was like, what did I do?
Well, I mean, I kind of felt punished a little bit. It was so
you did the misery loves company thing.
No, see, what happened is I went over there. I was hanging out this afternoon. I go to not Zach's, to CT's. We're hanging out. We're having a good time. He's reviewing Ava's video. I'm on there like 15 minutes, and Ava and Zach both show up and are running their money makers, and cuts one. So basically, all of the people, all of the drama is in one place, and CT gets them up on stage because originally it was just me, CT, and Hafez, however you say his name, and we were just chatting about the stream, just kind of doing a reaction sort of video, and then those two came in, and it got lit. The funny thing is, I thought Ava did actually really well. Like I was, like, if you watch her video, it's not bad. It's obviously I don't really do like investigative reporting videos or whatever, but from what I could tell, it was pretty well done, and she really had Zach's balls in her cast, like literally the cast iron grip thing. I wasn't really joking about that, right?
Oh wow!
Like Like, because she was like, hey, if somebody had bet on your picks for this whatever fucking event, they'd have lost $100 and something, right? If they had bet $1 or $2 or whatever it was. And it's like, if they had followed your picks and placed these bets, they would have lost this much money. And he came back and, oh no, they won. They actually won money. And she's like, no, they didn't. They absolutely didn't. Now he revised it, I think, after the fact or some shit, and said, "Oh no, we really said this," which is what he does. Everything is after the fact. So you can't wait until he's out of our sphere, Mikey Balls. It was an interesting. It's interesting to me that Zach is kind of in the sphere, right? Because it doesn't do him any good, and it makes him look like a raging idiot. And he had like a lot of his like followers in there, and they were trying to like, oh no, Zach is smart, he's awesome, he's all you guys are idiots. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. Glenn, are you streaming tonight, or what are you doing? What you got going on?
I don't know. If I'm gonna stream, it's gonna be a chill stream. I had some business stuff to do today, and I'm gonna be working. Well, I'm not working. I'm gonna be at an event this weekend, so I'm gonna be doing some filming there.
Cool.
Shooting some content. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I need to reach out to Korea.
On a yacht. Be at a yacht party. I need to wear my boat shoes.
You and Beaten Cheeks, man. You and the yacht party. So I was actually out on my boat and streaming this morning to Abe Dinkus's channel. You saw it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. What did you think of it?
That was cool.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It was cool. I mean, I don't watch people fish. If I'm gonna fish, I'm gonna fish myself,
Well, I was trying to have a conversation while I fished, but it was tough because I forgot mics and I wasn't equipped, so to speak. But it was all right.
I mean, you live and learn.
Yeah, or you don't live long.
That's true. So. That is true.
Smoking Spaceman, Zach is turning into kind of a lolcow for sure. I'm not sure whose locale he is, but he is kind of turning into.
I'm just glad that guy has never tried to come on my panel.
See, he really seems to only do CT's panel.
So then he is not in my sphere. I'm good.
Right. Yeah.
Because I would never let him up after just hearing that. Like, he has got a permaban.
Permaban.
I'm permabanning him, and I don't even know him. It was just that bad.
Yeah, he's been on Sarah's a couple of times debating. He debated Andrew, and Andrew basically said, "Just give me one prediction, just one." And he could not do it.
Now I predicted Diddy was going to get off, and he didn't get all the way off, but he beat all the real bad charges.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It was interesting. It was cool. Zach is just one of those weird dudes, man.
Thank you, Smoking Spaceman. I enjoyed the time I was on there.
Yeah. I didn't know you were on this.
It was a heck of a grenade. It was a heck of a grenade. And
I knew it was you when they were talking about that they had been discussing polygamy. I'm like, was Glenn on? And they're like, yeah.
Well, because let me present you an argument.
Okay.
And you tell me if you think this is like a sound argument for a debate, right?
Sure.
1 second. I have it typed out right here.
All right.
I like to have my notes.
Notes are good.
So I'll give you 6 points, right? And honestly,
well,
I'm
not
just
taking notes, so don't get
I know.
pissed if I don't.
I know. Trust me, I barely get you to pay attention to things I say. So you taking notes would be an extra. That's way beyond expected. So if the prompt was, is polygyny a sin? If I was going to do that debate, right?
Yeah.
I'll say, like, let's strip away the church tradition, the feminist reinterpretation of scripture, and the Western romantic idealism, and get back to what the Bible actually says and does not say about polygyny. One, God never declares polygyny a sin. Let's start with the obvious. Nowhere in scripture does God declare polygyny a sin. Not in the Old Testament, not in the New Testament, not even in the teachings of Jesus. Sin, by definition, is a transgression of God's law. 1 John 3:4. If polygyny was a violation of God's moral law, God would have condemned it clearly, like he did with adultery, homosexuality, bestiality. Instead, God regulates polygyny in his law, which means he acknowledges it, governs it, permits it. The law of Moses regulates, not prohibits, polygyny. Deuteronomy 21:15-17 lays out the law for a man who has 2 wives. God tells the man how to distribute his inheritance fairly between his sons, and that's not a rebuke, that's a case law. If God were morally opposed, polygyny would not have been said, he would have said, don't do it. Instead, he said, if you do it, here's how you do it justly. Likewise, in Exodus 21:10 speaks of a man who takes a second wife. He is commanded not to reduce the food, clothing, and marital rights of the first wife. Again, God does not outlaw the practice, but he ensures the women are not neglected if polygyny occurs. There's a difference between sin and structure. God gave structure, not condemnation, for plural marriages. Polygyny was practiced.
I think I've heard most of those talking points from that guy that Andrew debated last year.
Oh, he didn't even say these talking boys. This is way more articulate than he had. But polygyny was practiced by God's chosen men with God's favor. Let's talk about patriarchs. The founding fathers of the faith practiced polygyny. Abraham, father of faith, he had Sarah and Hagar. Jacob, the namesake of Israel, he had 4 wives. Moses, who spoke face to face with God, married multiple women, Zephaniah and Cushite women. A white wife in Numbers 12:1. David, a man after God's own heart, had many wives and concubines. God never condemned David for polygyny, but he did judge him for adultery with Bathsheba and the murder of Uriah. God even gave David more wives. I gave you your master's house and your master's wives into your arms. 2 Samuel 12:8. That's God talking. So let's get this straight. God blessed polygynous men, used them mightily, never condemned them for multiple wives, and even gave them more wives.
Except Solomon.
How can we seriously call that a sin?
Except for Solomon.
Well, Solomon already had a bunch of wives. He got a bunch of wives.
Well,
he married King Solomon. Yeah, he married a bunch of wives for
right,
peace.
but God told him that if he took those wives, he would fail. Right, like he said, if you do this,
he was bringing in their idols and their religion.
Yeah, because he took all those wives, and and God said, if you do this, you will stray from me, and he strayed from him.
But it wasn't the polygyny; it was the taking of the wives from other faiths.
But that's polygyny.
No, polygyny is taking up other wives.
So if it had been one wife, if it
would have been, I'm saying if it would have been multiple wives of the same faith, I don't think he probably would have had the destruction of the nation with the ideology.
But if he had one wife of a different faith, he would have handled that, and it would have been no problem.
Who knows? He may have allowed her to worship the other gods just as much as he did the other ones.
I think that God told him if he takes multiple. God made a statement that
I don't recall.
One's
that.
okay, more is not so good, not so okay.
I'm almost done. I have like 2 more.
By the way, $4.99 from Mikey Balls. Disregard women, gain currency. You're not wrong.
Jesus affirmed God's design of marriage in Matthew 19, saying a man shall leave his father and mother and join to his wife. But he was answering a question about divorce, not polygyny. And nowhere did he say one man, one woman only. People read into the text, not from it. Moreover, Christ uses a parable where he is the bridegroom of multiple people, the church being composed of multiple members. This isn't a literal endorsement, but it shows that Christ did not shy away from multiple bride imagery. New Testament eldership qualifications do not qualify or do not equal a moral law. Some would like to try to argue that polygyny is disqualified by the husband of one wife phrase in 1 Timothy 3:2 and Titus 1:6, but that qualification is for elder, not a universal moral standard for all believers. Just like elders must not be given too much wine and apt to teach, those roles are specific standards. If polygyny were universally sinful, Paul would have said, let no man have more than one wife, period. But he didn't. In fact, polygyny, if polygyny were a sin, Jesus' genealogy would be tainted by sin because many of his ancestors were polygynous kings. David, Solomon, for instance. The Western...
he was a virgin birth, so ancestry.
But Mary, his mother's bloodline. The Jews go off of the mother's bloodline, not the father's. Yeah, so there we go. I think that it would be a good argument to present.
But since you can only have one mother, that might actually probably okay. Plus, the father was.
But I'm saying I'm saying Jesus, Mary's bloodline was
I understand
David and everybody, which is all full of polygynous and right,
but all of the polygynists in the Old Testament come to ruin. King David, Solomon.
But the thing is, that's not the question of whether does it come to ruin or not. Is it a sin or not?
Well, many things are not sin that are wrong to do. I mean, and that's an interesting thing in the Bible.
What would you say is a sin? What is not a sin that's wrong to do?
That's not specifically prohibited in the Bible.
Yeah, like what would be a sin that you think is, or what is not a sin that you think is
or
wrong?
what? Actually, I think the better question is, what do most people think is a sin that is not labeled as sin in the Bible? That'd be a better question.
Polygyny.
Yeah, it's not labeled as a sin. You're right. Yeah. But I think God's pretty clear when he tells Solomon, do not take those wives.
But he also gave David multiple wives.
He did give David multiple wives. And he also told...
he also blessed Leah and Rachel for giving their maidservants as wives to their husband.
But what were the... You're like... kind of
well, if God, so here,
you're just
I'm not trying to cherry pick, I'm just
story,
pointing out if God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, as the Bible says, how was it not a sin back then, but a sin now? If God is the same, if his attitude would be the same about everything, that wouldn't make sense. That would make the Bible inerrant, or that would make the Bible flawed and not inerrant. If all of a sudden, one scripture saying God is the same today, yesterday, and forever, but then but he changed his mind. Well, then he's not the same on that.
Well, I think that there's a couple of different instances where, like, I don't know what.
That's not me. I'm not.
Yeah, no, it was me. Sorry, it's fine. Fuck. There are several instances where.
So you getting help? Are you getting the phone?
No. I just got completely fucking derailed. Shit. I was going with like the obviously the commandments, Abrahamic law. Well, all right. So there's several times where the law is handed down by God is modified. Abrahamic law, the Talmud.
Yes. The Mosaic law.
Right. And there's several times where
I wouldn't even say the Talmud is from God.
Right. I mean, it can be argued that it's not from God, but if and obviously I wasn't there, I don't know, right? But what we are told is that God has handed out this law, but the law has changed several times. You
Really?
can look at that through the Bible, and there's usually a reason.
When has the law changed several times?
Well, Abrahamic law.
Like if you could give me an example.
All right. Contrast Abrahamic law with the Talmud.
Well, the Talmud is Jewish law, and
Right.
Talmud says
and Talmud is from God according to the Jews,
not according to the Bible. I'm going solely off the Bible.
All right. Let's kick the Talmud out. So
yeah, I mean they like Chinese.
Take Abrahamic law. Contrast it to the Ten Commandments in themselves. There's another one, and I'm drawing a blank because it was right on the tip of my tongue. I got that phone call, and then we don't use it anymore, but it's a really draconian set of laws that was handed out in a very specific circumstance, right?
Well, I'm wondering, like, what is the Abrahamic law? Because I remember the Abrahamic covenant, but I don't remember Abrahamic.
I think that I refer to that as Abrahamic law,
as the Mosaic law, or
yeah, Mosaic law.
Okay, that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But even in the Mosaic law, God gives them guidelines how to operate within it.
Sure,
if you're going
right.
to practice it, you're going to
nobody's arguing that. Yeah, nobody's arguing that. I mean, I'm just simply saying that there are instances of God saying one thing. All right. Let's not argue law. Let's argue events, right?
Yeah.
Because we'll go down a rabbit hole, and I'm getting ready to go to bed, and I don't want to spend 4 hours, which I will do. I will gladly do, but the Canaanites, where God orders his people to go and kill all of them, right? And then he says, "Thou shalt not commit murder," which a lot of people consider that as committing murder. You look throughout the Bible, and God has, I don't want to say modified. I mean, I guess it's not really modified, but he has clarified positions.
Is that murder or war?
And again, I'm not, the thing is that I'm not really qualified to interpret the Bible. I'm not a priest. I'm not a pastor. I don't pretend to be.
Well, like what I'm pointing out is that, like, if homosexuality, God says it's an abomination. It is very blatant what he says about it, right? And
sure.
Adultery, he's very clear that adultery is a sin. He does not shy, right? So why would he just skip over that one? Like, if it was practiced before, and he knew,
but I don't.
People may
again. I think that
I don't see why he wouldn't be so clear as he was so clear with everything else.
Hey, what's up, lower class? How are you? Coming in at the bell. Steelman, I'm not a Bible scholar at all. I know just enough to argue specific points. And this is this is a point that Glenn and I have talked about many times. I know exactly where he's going to go. He knows exactly where I'm going to go, and he's refining his argument to push it down. I'm gonna be honest with you, Glenn.
One of those things, it's one of those. Hold on, real quick. It's one of those things, like in the Bible, that I just can't find any, like, one way or the other, like, to one that promotes it, other than we see that God doesn't give punishment to those that are practicing it.
But he allows punishment to happen to those who does it. Like literally every single example in the Bible of polygamy is they come to ruin. Their houses.
No, not actually, not at
except
all.
for
That's how the
Abraham. Abraham. Well, no, our
no,
Abraham.
It's Jacob, right? You know, the 12 tribes of Israel came from, you know, a polygynous, you know, 4 different women. So I mean, God used 4 different women, 1 man to create the 12 tribes of Israel. Like, how you gonna say that came to ruins? That was the birth of the nation, right? Like, so it's kind of hard. Like when you look at things to say, like, okay, where now I'm not saying that it is God's preferred way. Absolutely not. It's very clear that God's preferred way is 1 man, 1 woman. But to say that this thing is a sin, I think it's really
there's
hard.
nowhere that it says that doing drugs is a sin, but it is wrong.
Well, actually, you know, treat your body like a temple, right? Be a good steward of your temple.
I've heard arguments for that, but
you could use drunkenness. Like, drunkenness is a substance, right? That would, you know, alter your cognitive thinking and your behavior, right? So you could just extrapolate. If you're not supposed to be drunk, you probably shouldn't be high either. You know, it's like
Arthur Dye is throwing out Corinthians. Let each man have his own wife, and let each woman have her own husband.
I agree. I'm not arguing any of that. I'm just saying there's nothing that as overt and as explicit that God has said adultery. This is adultery and it's a sin.
Yeah. Again, I don't think I've ever maintained it's a sin. I think it's wrong, and I think it borders on blasphemous, but I don't think it's a sin.
I don't think it's a sin. I think it's a lesser issue. I don't think it's a salvation issue. I don't think if someone practices polygyny and professes to be a Christian, I don't think that that their soul is damned to hell or they're not a real Christian.
I kind of go back to the Sodom and Gomorrah thing, and all of the wickedness. And I while I don't consider it a sin, I believe polygamy is wicked. I believe that it is.
Well, how could something be wicked and not a sin, though?
That's a great question. I would say that we would find prostitution to be wicked, and yet it is not a sin.
Actually, it is a sin. It's fornication.
Is it?
Yeah. If you're having sex outside of marriage, it's a fornication.
That is true. Fornication is, in fact,
a sin.
A sin. But since marriage can only be between 1 man and 1 woman, polygamy then would be a sin.
Well, then God has caused people to sin by giving them multiple wives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why would I don't disagree with that. I don't, and I think that God told
why would God cause people to sin?
Yeah, you got me, man. I'm not God. I'm also not a biblical scholar.
Oh, and also you got in Isaiah, you got God referring to himself as a polygynous groom or husband that's issuing a divorce to Jerusalem and Judea.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd have to see that interpretation.
Yeah, I'll actually pull it up. It's like I issue one sister the letter of divorce, and it's Isaiah, or is it Ezekiel? I think it's Ezekiel.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't remember that.
Hold on, I got pulling it up right now.
But honestly, it's irrelevant to my worldview. I consider polygyny as the most like charitable thing I could say about polygyny is that it's wrong. It probably won't go to hell in and of itself. However,
I think it's
since I don't believe that you can, since I don't believe you can marry more than one person, then I believe that you would then at that point, I do believe that you would be sinning, you would be committing adultery, and you would go to hell.
So then you think it is a sin?
I think,
even though you said you don't think it's a sin, but you just said it was a sin.
I'm just saying that's just the way I look at it. Now, am I right? I don't know.
So Ezekiel 21, 1-15. The word of the Lord came to me, son of man. There were two women, daughters of the same mother. They became prostitutes in Egypt, engaging in prostitution from their youth. In the land, their breasts were fondled and their virgin bosoms caressed. The older was named Aloa, and her sister Oloabaya, or whatever. They were mine and gave birth to sons and daughters. Aloa is Samaria, and Oloabaya, whatever, is Jerusalem. Aloa engaged in prostitution while she was still mine, and she lusted after her lovers, the Assyrian warriors, clothed in blue, governors and commanders, all of them handsome young men and mounted horses. She gave herself as a prostitute to all the elites of the Assyrians and defiled herself with all the idols of everyone she lusted after. She did not give up the prostitution she began in Egypt when during her youth men slept with her, caressed her virgin bosom, and poured out their lust on her. Ugh, she got a facial. Therefore I delivered her out of the hands of her lovers, the Assyrians, for whom she lusted. They stripped her naked, took her away. Her sons and daughters were killed with the sword. She became a byword among women, and punishment was inflicted on her. Her sister,
sounds like she sinned.
She did, because she was a hoe. Her sister saw this, yet in her lust and prostitution, she was more depraved than her sister. She too lusted after the Assyrians, governor, commanders, and warriors in full dress, mounted horsemen, and all the young men. I saw that she too defiled herself. Both of them went the same way, but she carried her prostitution still further. She saw a man portrayed on the wall, figures portrayed in red, and the belts around their waist, flowing turbans on their head, and looked at them like the Babylon chariot officers native to Shalan. As soon as she saw them, she lusted after them and sent messengers to them. Then the Babylonians came near to her to the bed of love, and in their lust they defiled her. After she's been defiled by them, she turned away from them in disgust. When she carried on her prostitution, openly exposed her naked body, I turned away from her in disgust, just as I turned away from her sister. Yet she became more. You're
not making the case here.
No, I'm telling you, this is God. This is the prophecy from Ezekiel, from God, as he's dealing with two women.
Sure.
All right. So she lusted after her lovers. Those genitals were those of donkeys, and emissions was like of a horse. So you longed for the lewdness of your youth, when in Egypt your bosom was caressed and your young breasts fondled. This is what the sovereign Lord says: I will stir up your lovers against you, those you've turned away from in disgust. I will bring them against you from every side, the Babylonians, the Shalans, and the men of Pikod and Shoa and Koa, and all the Assyrians with them, handsome young men with all their governors and commanders, chariots, officers, and men of high rank, and all the mounted horses. They will come against you with weapons, chariots, and wagons, with all throng of people, and will take up positions against you on every side with the large and small shields and the helmets. I will turn you over to them for punishment, and they will punish you according to their standards. I will direct my jealous anger against you, and they will deal with you in fury. They will cut off your nose and your ears, and those of you who are left will fall by the sword. I will take away your sons and daughters, and those who are left will be consumed by fire. They will also strip you of your clothing and take away your fine jewelry. So I will put a stop to the lewdness and the prostitution you began in Egypt, and you will look on these things with longing and remember Egypt anymore. For this is what the sovereign Lord says: I deliver you out of the hands of those that hate you, and you turned against me in disgust. They will deal with you in hatred, and they'll take everything you have worked for. They will leave you stark naked in shame of your prostitution and expose your lewdness and your promiscuity. Have brought this on you because you lusted after the nations and defiled yourself with their idols. You have gone away with your sister, and
I guess I don't see that we're the condoning of.
No, he's not condoning. He and he says, like, I issue Jerusalem a letter of divorce. That's where I'm getting to. And then he also talks about issuing the sister also a letter of divorce because of their adultery.
Sure.
Right. So
I understand adultery is bad.
But so God is with two women in this prophecy, right? This picture that he's painting. There's a man with two women. They're both prostitutes. They're not listening. They defiled themselves, and he issues them a letter of divorce, meaning he divorces them. His covering is not over them anymore. He's not there to protect them anymore. Right? So in this image, he's a husband to two wives, and he's issuing two divorce letters. That would look like polygyny. That's all I'm saying.
But I mean, as God, I mean, I don't know that that's the same.
The image that he's using is a man with two wives. He has
as an example, right?
He's using two nations. He's dealing with two nations that are being disobedient.
Sure. Right.
He's saying they're both belong to him, like they were his wives.
I don't think that's condoning polygyny at all.
I'm not saying he's condoning polygyny.
I'm saying I don't think he's illustrating polygyny at all. I think he's illustrating.
How can you be married to two women? How can you be married to two women and not be polygyny?
He's using it as an example. I can say I have one wife and she does this, but or I have another wife and she does this. That's not polygyny. That's just using two examples.
If you have two wives that are sisters,
maybe he had one, divorced her, then married the other one. I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know. I think you're reaching. I think you're reaching.
I think you are reaching. I don't think you actually have a good argument against it. And I don't think there really is a good argument.
I don't need a good argument against it. I've already said I don't believe it's a sin. It's not listed as a sin.
You said you don't
However,
believe
I think it's wrong. And
if somebody practices it, it's a sin.
I'm sorry?
You said you don't think it's a sin, but then you said if anybody practices
I do think that I mean, I would believe that if God has defined marriages in the New Testament as man and woman, right? That's the covenant with which most of us live, right? We can talk about the Jews in another way, but we can talk about the Jews in another way, but most of us live with the covenant of the New Testament, right? Is that accurate?
Well, I think most of us live it the entirety of the Bible, because I don't think you.
I don't know about that, Glenn, because I think that most people use the Old Testament as a sort of a guide, right?
So do you
history, like that's the history book, but what we live by is the New Covenant, which is the New Testament. That's the separation of the two, right? And so if I'm living my life according to the New Testament and the latest data, right? The latest, this is what this is the new thing, right? This is or not the new thing, but this is the thing. This is it. If that is the case, then he's really fucking clear. God is about one man, one woman. That's marriage. So if you choose to take another wife, I don't think it's a sin, right, in and of itself. But the minute you fuck that wife, you've committed adultery, because she's technically not your wife. You have one wife.
Well, okay,
Now,
so
I can't sit on. I mean, I wouldn't sit in a court of law and not hear testimony on both sides.
Well, what you're saying is like
you're not. I
Old
don't believe it's
Testament.
specifically in and of itself a sin. I think that
So you're
it is
saying that the Old
transcendent.
Testament is not valid, so that would also make the New.
I didn't say it's not valid. I say we use it as a reference, as a learning tool. But the new covenant is the laws by which we live.
And what laws are those?
Well, the laws that Christ handed down. Well, he didn't really say these are laws. He said this is, he didn't do like in the. He didn't pull a Moses, if that's what you're asking me.
Well, Moses gave 10 commandments, right? And
Sure.
I think and Jesus gave 2, right? And I think that, the reason why Jesus gave 2, because he knew Glenn can't remember 10 things at once. So he said, look, I'm going to give him 2 things to remember. And by fulfilling these 2 things, he would actually fulfill all 10. So the Mosaic laws would still, the 10 commandments would still be very much in place.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the 10 commandments. I'm just saying that I don't think
But that's the Old Testament. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like,
but I don't believe that and I think we've had this discussion before. I look at the 10 commandments as a reference point for what the New Testament say, right? Like I no longer consider Mosaic law the law, because Christ came and fulfilled the law.
But we actually still apply a lot of even the Mosaic law in
I understand that we apply it in government in various forms.
No, even in Christianity in itself.
Sure, I'm sure. Yeah, we apply things from all over the place as humans. That's what we do. But you're not asking me what I apply in my life. What you're asking me is
whether or not something is a sin or not.
Yeah,
and
right.
And
I think
just
ultimately it boils down to it probably is.
I would say like the way that I could rationalize it's a sin, because
I think you need to rationalize it a lot to say that it's not a sin.
Well, no,
God
here
didn't
check this out.
specifically say this, but God did this, and God did that.
God is not a God of confusion. He's very clear.
Deal.
God is not a God of confusion, right? So he's very clear. And if he was going to say that something was a sin,
he said
would say
marriage is between a man and a woman. That's pretty fucking clear.
Well, no, that's
any sex outside of marriage is adultery.
Yes, but it never says how many marriages a guy could have at the same time.
If you want to get divorced 20 times, Glenn.
No. I'm just saying, like, I mean, if that was the case, then it had to have been a sin all through the Old Testament. Because if God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, then he cannot, have one view here and then change his view somewhere else.
Again, I'll go back to the Canaanites. He literally ordered the slaughter of everyone.
Yes, that's not murder, though.
I understand that.
So then how is that the same thing?
Does he do it? Does he do it again? Or did he change and say, no, we're not doing it?
No, he had them do it, and they didn't even do it. They failed at even doing that. They didn't even get rid of everybody. They let people live. So they didn't even obey that.
Humans are failures, so.
But what I'm getting at is, like, it was a war. It was a territory.
I understand that.
So
and I use that.
Murder, right?
I specifically picked that example because it's a really common example most people understand. Did God at later when he had similar issues, did God say, okay, we're going to do the same thing we did Canaanites, or did he change and say, you know what, this time we're going to do the blood of the lamb on the door?
Well, this was after they were in Egypt.
I understand.
They left Egypt.
Well,
they left Egypt, and that they did the blood of the lamb on the door.
Yeah,
and then he told them to go take that land. That's their promised land.
And maybe the blood of the lamb on the door. Maybe he felt bad about killing all of those infants in their beds, and he figured that, let's make the.
Well, I mean, he did tell everybody, if you guys just put the blood, on your door, your kid, your firstborn kid will survive. Those that didn't want to listen.
That's true.
It was, so it was, again, like this is how I think that it would be a sin. All right, hear me out. God says in the New Testament that he puts the leaders in power. He puts those above us in power. He selects them, right? And he tells us to obey them, right? That if we sin against them, it basically, in a way, it would be like sinning against God, because he put them in that position. So if we're supposed to obey the laws of the land, then wouldn't anyone practicing it, if the law says it's illegal, therefore make it a sin? There's your sin. That's how it's a sin.
No, that's a fucking reach. Literally, Glenn, you keep glossing over. Hold on. You keep glossing over the fact that multiple times in the New Testament it says marriage is between a man and a woman, not a man and as many women as he can support, not as a man and all of this. Maybe he looked at the house of Abraham and he looked back and he said, you know what? That worked, but we had all of these other problems. Now we're doing this. Now we're going to do this. That was last year's gag. This is this year. Right? This is a new model. Right?
I think that, when we see the way that God,
and I think that there's enough evidence for this, because while you say that God was unchanging, but when he was dissatisfied with the earth and he was going to destroy the humanity because of the fuck ups that we had become, he did, instead of sending a flood again, instead of sending pestilence, instead of all that, he sent his son to teach us to fulfill the law, to fulfill the promise, and to give us that chance for salvation. And this is why, Glenn, I don't think it holds up when I don't think the line of logic that you're trying to use of God is the same now, today, and forever. I don't believe that. While I believe that God is unchanging, the very Bible itself shows that God tried different things and learned, right?
God didn't try
fallen angels because of that. We have hell because of that. I mean, hell is populated by a fallen angel from God's own army. So
were you saying God tried different things and he learned? God didn't learn anything. He already knew.
Well, maybe he knew, but maybe it was like, well, we're going to do it this way. Well, these guys, I don't know, but I don't know. I'm not God.
I'm looking at this one, and then I'm also. This is one of the topics
striking resemblance, but I'm not God.
I don't think. I don't know. Little too much there. I think. What I'm looking at is also like the end times. That's the other thing. I'm looking up for. So besides polygyny, I'm also looking up studying like what is the like the clarity of eschatologies. Why is there eschatologies? There's nothing that, without piecing together part of Daniel and part of Revelations and try to mix them all together to make this theology, this eschatology. It doesn't seem that there's any clear-cut reason for people to believe in eschatologies. I think my eschatology is the best.
Of course you do. Everybody does.
Well, it's simple. It's just hurry up and wait.
Yeah. Abe makes a good point. God doesn't change, but that's his nature. He can teach us in different ways. That's true. And I think that there's some references to that. But again, I just keep going back to I think it's a reach to say that just because God said it's okay in the Old Testament, that it's okay in the New Testament. He very specifically in the New Testament, where he maybe before marriage it was okay, multiple, all of these wives
before marriage.
But in maybe in the New Testament, he says he's very clear, and I think is it Paul or Mark? I'm too tired to fucking remember. I think it's Paul, where he talks about marriage between one man, one woman.
Well, Jesus mentions it in Matthew.
Yeah,
But
Matthew as well. Yeah,
he's specifically talking about divorce.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So again, I think you really have to reach to go for polygamy, for a polygamy argument. I understand what you're doing, and it really seems to me like you're trying to. You want to make
I'm
the
just trying to
polygamy
get
argument with Andrew
because
because that one guy who made the polygamy argument with
no.
Andrew
It's
failed
something
so
I've been
fucking
studying.
miserably.
It's something I've been studying, and like I said, I've been studying eschatologies and understanding, trying to figure out where is the root of eschatology to be believed. Because a lot of people,
I've never studied
Y2K,
it. I've never
remember when
studied it
Y2K
because
happened?
I've never studied it because as in my life, it's one man, one woman. Period. End of story. I don't believe I believe that if you're married and you're lusting after other women, you are sinning actively.
Well, yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
So given that, I could never even attempt to have a second wife because the fact of lusting and courting and making that woman my wife would be a sin.
Well, there's also this in the scriptures where it's like if your brother's wife, if your brother died without giving his wife a son,
a child,
a son, right? Whether you were married or not, you are to,
Yeah, but isn't that Old Testament?
It's still the Bible. Like I'm just pointing out, like there's
Yeah,
no
but
clear,
again,
clear
you
distinction.
can't. There's a reason it's the Old Testament and the New Testament. I mean, Christ came and changed things.
Yes,
Christ
but
came and
not
changed things.
not all the laws. He came and changed the sacrifice that we would have to do. We're no longer sacrificing animals. We're no longer having this divide between us and God. We no longer have this middleman.
Abe. If you and Silvar want to come up, I think I.
Well,
put the
I
link
could. I
in
was great. I know you're getting tired, so I was gonna fire up a stream.
I'm overdue.
I know. I was gonna fire up a stream if anybody wanted to come have this conversation
again. So
again, I'm still just trying to find the answers. Really, I'm in search of the answer. I believe what I believe. I believe that it is a sin. I think it's not God's or design. Anything that is not operating out of God's design is tainted and therefore is going to be left to ruins. But to say it's a sin, I don't think you could do that when God has blessed people in that and even gave people to that lifestyle. I don't see God leading people to sin, and even calling one of them a man after his own heart. That's where it's confusing, and God's not a God of confusion.
I think I think you have to reach to allow it to confuse you. I have no confusion about Old Testament versus New Testament. I don't understand why you do, and that's okay because I'm not a priest. I don't have any frame of reference. I don't do that. It's not my day job. And Silvar Ogre, and I'm going to send everybody over to Glenn's anyway. But so get that set up, Glenn.
I'm getting it fired up right now.
But I mean, there's no way I can't see a viable path to I can't see a viable path to where I could even have a polygamous relationship.
Oh, I never said that everybody should or that people should have.
Well, I don't believe anybody could if they're attempting to live with as little sin as possible. Like, I mean, I sin all the time, but I try and keep those to like the little
just cussing at people and telling them to fuck off and go die.
I like the stuff that I try and keep that to like the B grade, maybe C grade.
B grade sins.
I don't want to. I never want to hit that top shelf A or A plus. I want to. The cheap stuff, man. Keep me in the cheap stuff. But it's and I'm I don't know. It's an interesting. I mean, it's an interesting argument, right? Like, um, but it's only interesting to me so long because at some point it's at some point it becomes so circular that I lose interest in it. So,
is it circular?
It's very circular. Well, I know it can become circular because exactly what's going on here is that I say, well, the Christ coming fulfilled the covenant and he determined the future. You say, well, but Old Testament. And I keep saying, well, the Old Testament's great for reference, and we can reference the Ten Commandments in and of themselves, which Christ never said to do that, by the way. He came back and he said, I am the law. And so
did he say he was the law, or did he say he fulfilled the law?
He fulfilled the law. Thank you. Again, I'm punchy, but yeah, I fulfilled the law, and now you no longer have to do the things. And there was like a list too, like, and some of them were like weird, like don't have to slaughter animals, whatever. But that did change things, right? And to say, well, we can look back into this where there was no
Grid, you can just send everybody over now. I'm already live.
Cool. All right, cool. Well,
I know you need to get some sleep, man. Get some sleep.
I've been up since 4 o'clock.
I know. You seem like you're cranky. You need a Snickers.
I've been kind of spicy all day. I don't know if you watched the thing on CT with Ava the G, but it was hilarious.
That is a very interesting alliance, a brief alliance.
Yeah, well, only because Zach is so fucking annoying.
Yes, he is very, very annoying.
I need the link. I need the link.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do you like you did me, and I'm not going to give you a Facebook group.
Dude, I have no idea.
That's how tired I know you are. I was like, damn, he gave you a Facebook link.
I'm pretty fucking.
I'm going to put it in the private chat, so it's right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it.
So far.
Yeah. But it was it's one of those. Oh, not that link. I need the link to the.
Oh shit! Yeah. My bad. See,
yeah.
I did do a grid, but just not a grid. I actually gave them a link, but not the wrong link to the stream.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where Zach is such a pain in the ball sack that and I'm going to give Ava credit. She did her research and she did find where the recommendations that he made, if you had followed them, you would have lost money, right? And it's hard to be the champ if you're gonna fuck up like that, right?
Yep.
And so and then I just don't like the guy. Like I'm just gonna be honest. I don't like that fucker.
You know what? There's certain people that I come across that I don't like at all, and like I could try to like them, but even when I try to like them, I don't like them,
just don't like
and
the guy.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to like everybody.
Right. Okay. Well, you guys can debate this again tonight. Glenn's going to debate this like every single chance he gets for the next year. That's fine.
Nope. I am not. I'm just trying to get somebody to give me some answers that I could understand and be like, okay, that is clear, because God is not a God of confusion, and I think it's very confusing.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's very clear.
You agree that it's very confusing?
Yeah, you're the one that's confused. I'm like, what the fuck, man? How are you so confused? Like, I'm like, it's very simple. It's one man, one woman.
Again, I'm not confused by that. I'm saying it's not a sin.
The sin part of it is also
that's where I'm confused,
right? Like,
that's the part that I'm confused.
If sex outside of marriage, and it's not even sex itself, it's sexual acts, right? Like adultery can be just in theory, depending on how far you want to go with it, just touching a woman in a loving manner, right? Like that could be adultery. And So if we know that,
well, when you said touching a woman in a loving manner, like what do you mean?
I don't remember the fucking scripture, dude.
Go to sleep, Greg. You're keeping this conversation going on, and people want to argue.
I know, man. I don't like to give up. I don't like to.
Just take the L and go
leave it
home.
undone. There's no fucking L here, bro. You know I'm right. You just can't. You just don't want to admit that I'm right. You're in denial.
You can't.
You are so far up the river of denial that
you're
have
in denial
all the
like the river.
t-shirts.
You are in denial like the river. Like, okay.
And you are up the fuck. No, I'm not gonna fuck.
Go to bed. Go to bed.
I'm going to bed. Everybody, it's been a great show.
You
guys are awesome. Go hang out with
Good night,
Glenn, and get the fuck off my lawn.